You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Wednesday. Welcome to another show, another live episode. Sewed of the Drew Yari Show. No B Sharp. This is not Kevin Trez. They are on tomorrow. Unfortunately, it's just me. But another episode of the Drew Yari Show. I'm the host, Drew Yari, or I can be Kevin Castle. B Sharp. I can be Kevin Castle or Trez, whatever you want me to be. And with me are my co-hosts for tonight, Mr. Jeff Lippman. How you doing, Jeff?
Going all right. I mean, I can probably do a pretty passable Kevin or Trez impersonation.
You can definitely do that. And our third guy, you heard from him last week, the very sexy Ruben Prime. How you doing, Ruben Prime?
Doing well. How's everyone doing tonight?
And we got a nice little episode tonight. We got a lot of things to cover. Well, not a lot. AW Revolution, of course, Dynamite tonight. We can maybe talk a little bit about NXT from last night and just some parts of Raw. Let's get into AW Revolution, which was this past Sunday. It was in Orlando, Florida, at the Additional Financial Arena. They were, 11 matches, including 2 pre-show matches. Did either of you watch the pre-show matches?
I did. I watched the whole show.
What about you, Rube?
I didn't. I was at work, but I managed to catch, really the 3 important matches for the main card. But I kept up with the results and, what was happening. Right.
I missed the pre-show because I almost forgot it was on because I think it came on at I think the pre-show started at 6 and the main show didn't start till 7. So, the first pre-show match was Layla Hirsch versus Kris Statlander. Layla Hirsch went over. The match was 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Jeff, you said you saw it. What did you think about the match?
Terrible match. This was horrendously sloppy. Layla was falling all over the place. Kris Statlander tries, God bless her, but she's not good enough to carry Layla. And usually Layla is the one that, I guess is supposed to carry people because she's the collegiate or the, Greco-Roman, freestyle technical wrestler. This match was god-awful. It was sloppy, messy. They're lucky no one hurt themselves. Layla Hirsch took one of those, I don't know, it was almost like a ring wrench or something. Like one of those devices that keeps the turnbuckle connected to the rings. And hit Statlander with it while the ref was distracted, and she got the win by cheating and ran out to check on Statlander, and so obviously that group of 3 are no longer friends. So I guess Layla Hirsch's next feud will be Red Velvet.
That's the way it looks. And Rube, you said you didn't watch it, right?
No, I didn't.
Right. Second pre-show match, Hook defeating Kevin James by submission. The match was 5 minutes. What'd you think about it, Jeff?
I mean, okay. This would have been a great card if it was 8 matches, maybe even 7. But the match we just alluded to, and this one didn't need to be on the pay-per-view, even the pre-show. But this was exactly what you thought it would be. Hook took about 4 offensive shots from QT Marshall. It's just the match was very slow, so it seemed like he was taking more offense, but he really didn't have to sell much. But it's exactly what you think it would be. Marshall couldn't, get much going against Hook and made him tap. And it was fine, but it could have been on Rampage or Dark.
That's kind of my opinion on at least 3 of these matches that are on the main card. Just there's a lot, but we're about to jump into it. First match on the main show.
This is still pre.
Actually, no, there are 3 pre-show matches. Fuck. Third one was the House of Black. Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews versus Pac, Penta Oscuro, and Eric Redbeard, the former Eric Rowan, making his AEW debut, with Alex Abrahantes in a six-man tag. Match was 17 minutes and 20 seconds.
It was his AEW debut this year. He was there for the Brody Lee tribute show as well.
Right.
And we have found the red line that Tony Khan will not cross. He will hire anyone, but he will absolutely not hire Eric Redbeard past appearance, pay per appearance dates. This match wasn't bad. It didn't need to be on the pay-per-view at all. The pre-show was fine, but I probably would have not put it on the pay-per-view. I probably would have put the six-man that was the second to last match, the pre-show, to sort of get the crowd hyped up and excited. I probably would have edited out a bunch of the Hardy Family Office extras, but this match was fine. I mean, Eric Redbeard looked good. Brody King actually did some offense during the match instead of after they lost. Really need to change Buddy Matthews' name because it's not a very evil name. Penta Oscuro being evil doesn't really make... I mean, the fact that he wasn't evil before when he's in a tandem called Death Triangle doesn't make sense to begin with, but this new dark, evil, brooding persona that he left behind, you'd think that would fit more with House of Black than with, Pac and Random Guy. I guess Phoenix is more hurt than they let on. No surprise there. But this match was fine. It was fun. It did what it was supposed to do. It was hard-hitting. You had a bunch of professional wrestlers in there. Buddy Matthews looks like a superhero in there. Pac is one of the best in the world. Penta actually acted and sold and emoted. He didn't look like he was dead in there. Can't stand Abrahantes. I mean, he's like, Father Paul Bearer Danhausen, the Cardinal Victor of nothingness. They both carry shovels. I don't know. They don't even use them. But anyway, this was a good match. This was fun. I mean, it's just one that could have been edited out. Along with the other six-man cluster at the end of the show.
I'll say this. I'm sorry, Drew. I'll say this. Alex kind of reminds me of Oddman Sadler from Resident Evil 4. If any of you guys play Resident Evil 4, kind of had that feel and vibe. And I can understand people reprehensiveness with Alex being in there, like, with the whole get up and all that. Maybe a little bit, too much, too extra. But I could have done without that, especially when you have Pentagon in there. You got to let Pentagon be oscuro, dark. To me, he was kind of stealing the shine from the act, from the act of Pentagon. But that's pretty much it.
He adds nothing. I agree with you. I mean, he adds nothing. I don't have anything against him or his act particularly, but he adds nothing to it. And especially in a six-man, he's with two other guys. What's this guy doing? I mean, if he was interfering with matches or getting involved, that would be something, but he doesn't do any of those things.
So is Pentagon still doing that, what the fuck you want to call it? I guess like an Undertaker-ish gimmick, because that's the last time I saw him.
Still? I mean, he only debuted the Oscura persona, 3 weeks ago? So I'm not sure what the gimmick is, except that he wears more black and he wears the long, leather duster or long jacket. I mean, but he doesn't act different. He doesn't wrestle different. I mean, the first win he got was a roll-up. I mean, hardly a dark persona type of win. So I don't even know what you mean by gimmick. I mean, he carries a shovel. So there you go.
Did he
He's a construction worker with a strange outfit. I don't know.
Did he take Cody's golden shovel?
The funny thing is, he has like a stone throne. So they repurposed Cody's shovel at his throne.
Tony's like, "All right, Cody, you're leaving. I'm gonna give Pentagon all your shit, okay?"
That. I mean, now that I think about it, and you mentioned it, I mean, Cody left. I think there really is bad blood, and that may be a shot at him because one of the first people that Cody buried was Penta when they were first going to give him a solo push as a heel, and his first match against Cody, and Cody won.
Yeah,
that was it. That was the end of Penta as a heel, as a solo heel.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe this is on purpose. Maybe this was a shot, a very subtle inside baseball shot.
Yeah, we'll talk about Cody later on. All right, let's get to the main show. First match on the show, Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho, singles match. Eddie won by submission. The match was 13 minutes and 40 seconds. I missed this match. I was able to... I mean, obviously I catch the rest of the show. Missed this match. Fill me in, Jeff, Ruben. What'd you guys think about the match?
I'm going to defer to Ruben because I spoke a lot during the pre-show and he didn't see it. So.
All right, Rube, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. It was a good match. It was like for Jericho, like it was one of his best matches. Eddie Kingston, he put a good showing. At one point, when they did that suplex spot on the, I believe it was on the by ringside, like I really thought that was it Jericho? Yeah, like Jericho was going to like I thought he was done there because, as you know, on Dynamite tonight, and I don't want to spoil Dynamite, but he was like holding his head a bit during the attack. So I was like, oh boy, that kind of that was a callback to that. But yeah, the match, I enjoyed the match. Like again, that was Jericho's and Kingston's best match, and yeah, I had no complaints to it. I thought that this match was going to be honestly like put on later on in the match, and it was going to put the tag team title match first. But I think it was a good move to put this match in because you have Jericho, you have Kingston, they both over. So it was a weird move, but I understand why they placed this match on the card. It was a solid match. No complaints really with this match.
Yeah, I agree with Ruben. I think it was a good match. The issue I have is not with this match, but that this match, Bryan and Moxley and Punk and MJF, sort of similar in tone and style and pace. So you had three matches, and they're all very good matches, but they were all on the same show, and so they sort of took away from each other. Now, you don't realize that one match in, but you realize that when you're at the 11th match and you feel like it's been 24 matches. But this was good. It told a good story. Jericho wouldn't shake his hand at the end, even though he said he wouldn't, so you sort of knew that what was coming, and I know it's easy to opine that Jericho's turning heel so that when he finally leaves, he's going to leave as a heel and not as a top face, but whatever. I mean, maybe yes, maybe no. But yeah, I agree with Ruben. I thought it was a good match. That opening move where Kingston came out hot and gave him the suplex right on his head. I mean, I, like everyone else, thought maybe that was a botch. It turns out it was part of the plan. Jericho sold it like a champ. They worked pretty well together. So yeah, no complaints. I thought it was a pretty good opening. I was also surprised, like Ruben. I thought they'd start with a faster match, but I guess they just opened with the 6-man before that. So whatever.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, because you already had a 6-man, and I guess you don't want to start with a 6-man. But I mean, if that's how they were going to go about things, why not just have the 6-man on the pre-show be the first match on the pre-show? So that way you can begin the main show with the other 6-man. So I don't know. I'm not Booker of the Year, so what do I know? I mean, I wish I could have saw it. Maybe I'll probably watch it after this because the way you guys described it, like I really do want to watch. And it's good that Eddie got the win, because as much shit as a lot of us give Eddie for like his in-ring skills, Eddie is one of the better talkers in the company. He's passable in the ring if you give him a good opponent. And I mean, again, it's good for Eddie. I'm happy for Eddie. Finally got a win against, an opponent of main event caliber. I mean, Jericho is still considered a star, so good for Eddie. Next match.
Good for young 40-year-old Eddie.
Good for what? I'm sorry.
Young 40-year-old up-and-comer Eddie.
That skipper, that young skipper. Next match is the three-way tag team AEW World Championship match. Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks. The match was 18 minutes and 55 seconds. Whoever wants to start.
I'll again defer to Ruben.
I caught the tail end of the match towards the part when when Jurassic Express, when Jurassic Express got the belts, I caught the tail end. That's when I went on my break. But from what people were telling me, that it was just fast pace, insanity, a car crash, and there's a lot of story here considering what we saw on Dynamite tonight with the elite. The elite and Red Dragon still bickering amongst themselves. But I caught the tail end of the match, though, so I really can't opine on this.
Jeff.
Well, Drew, this is the first match that you saw in its entirety. Do you want to speak a little bit more and then come back to me, or do you want me to expert it out?
I'll speak. This was exactly what I thought it'd be. I mean, because when me and Ruben were doing our predictions, I pretty much said this was just going to be a spot match, and it was. Anytime the Young Bucks are in a match, and this is my main problem with them, they never seem to adapt to any other team's style. It always has to be a Young Bucks match. It's like the Johnny Gargano syndrome. It's like anytime Johnny Gargano is having a match with anyone, it has to be a Johnny Gargano match. Anytime the Young Bucks are having a match with anyone, whether it be FTR, whether it be Red Dragon, it has to be a Young Bucks match. They can't adapt to the environment that they're in, and that's why I just detest them so much. I'm not gonna say I detest them as humans. I just detest them as a team, and it's just spot, fast pace, spot, and if the Young Bucks were not in this match, I think it would have been decent, because you still would have had Jurassic Express versus Red Dragon. It would have been a much better grounded mat wrestling match. I mean, yeah, Jurassic Express, they do the spots, but not as bad as the Young Bucks. They can at least adapt to who they're wrestling against. And B Sharp saying the Bucks need to go away for a while. Yeah, I think they do. I mean, because Kenny went away for a while, but I think his was more like because he was nursing some injuries. The Young Bucks, I can imagine they have some injuries, and I think they need to go away for a while. And personally, I think if the Young Bucks went away for a while, the show might improve a little bit, especially the tag team division. I mean, I'm glad Jurassic Express won, and not just give it back to the Young Bucks, because it wouldn't have shocked me if they did win. You know what I mean? Because again, they're the Young Bucks, but I'm glad Jurassic Express won. But it always has to be a Young Bucks match. But go ahead, Jeff.
I mean, I pretty much agree with almost everything you said. I mean, so I'm not going to repeat your points. I'll just try to supplement them in the minor things I differ from just a little bit. For a Young Bucks match, there was a little bit of psychology in it. There was a little bit of talking. Now, not enough selling. Super kicks obviously mean nothing. They're about the same as a face slap. There's a little bit of story, but when watching AEW, you have to grade it on AEW curve, and so that this is going to be the style of a tag team match. I mean, this is pretty much what all of their teams do, and that's why they have Jungle Boy featured, and basically 30 guys more or less in the same mold. Where Red Dragon and the Young Bucks had these kinds of matches for years in Ring of Honor and New Japan, and probably, in arenas and bingo halls and armories that most of us never heard of. So they work okay together. I don't give a damn about any of these teams. They could all go away tomorrow, and I wouldn't miss them. But the Young Bucks aren't going away because it's their company, and they're not going to make this mistake Cody make. And of course, I would also do a Young Bucks match because the Young Bucks, have booking influence on the tag team division. But at least they're not putting themselves, towards the title at the moment. They're doing Bullet Club, Civil War, times 12.
Times 50.
I lose count after 10, Ruben. I'm old.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't even know the difference between 12 and 50. I just make up numbers.
It's all good.
B Sharp saying it's going to be the Bucks versus the Hardys at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if you're going to have that shit and you're just doing exhibition matches, making super indie shows, then why not? And with respect, that's sort of what WrestleMania seems to be, with the exception of maybe 4 or 5 matches. They're just putting together hodgepodge super indie matches, except they're not indie wrestlers.
And it's already got 5 stars. 5 stars.
Wow! Imagine if it was in Kurikan Hall.
It's like it's already voted the greatest wrestling match of all time, greatest tag team wrestling match of all time.
Yeah, but Dave and Punk are having a good week, aren't they?
Oh, that there. We'll get to CM Punk.
Do you know the guy who started the whole thing, Paul LaFontaine? The funny thing about it, I didn't know this at this time. I just thought he was a fan because he's just acting like a fan. Everyone's jumping on him. Well, he's a staff writer, not a contributing writer, a staff writer for WON, for Wrestling Observer newsletter. I mean, he works for Dave Meltzer, so he probably should know it. But what's that say about Dave Meltzer's A, hiring qualification, his criteria for his hiring, and B, what's that say about his loyalty to his staff and employees, where he basically calls the guy an idiot for not knowing the history? Maybe you should say, listen, his beat started 6 years ago, and he only covers these fads. I've never asked him to look into those things. Not everyone needs to know everything. And Phil could have handled that better. That's all he needed to do. Would have been fine. But no, he's got to go with Punk, and then of course everybody who doesn't like Punk and who's social media savvy pulls up every time he called a fan a homo or made fun of mentally challenged people, and apparently there's lots of those times. I know apparently he's like the Joe Rogan, that if you look hard enough you're gonna be able to make a the sound recording, except the pictures. So wow, good week for those guys. What were we talking about again?
I don't fucking know anymore. Like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
You just went on this rant, and I just went, what?
That meandering is my thing.
Hey, Jeff Meandering Lippman.
Right.
Trademark that shit. Next match, the Face of the Revolution ladder match for for a future AEW TNT Championship match. Wardlow, Christian Cage, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks. Wardlow wins. The match was 17 minutes and 20 seconds. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was good for what it was. I thought it was kind of weird that you had, like 3 Hosses in the match in a ladder match, which is kind of weird. But Wardlow, fortunately for him, he works smart for a big guy. And what I mean by that is he's not like a Keith Lee where he has to do these spots. Like, he knows he doesn't need to do that. His bread and butter is, I'm just going to go on there and beat the shit out of everybody. Like, I'm not going to do anything crazy off the ladder. I'm not going to do any spots. I'm not going to try and kill myself. I'm just going to be smart. And he did. Orange Cassidy, I don't think was needed in this match. Like, he didn't really do anything. And I took pleasure in him. I took pleasure in watching him getting the shit beat out of him by fucking Wardlow and everybody else. So good. Christian Cage kind of seemed like
Keith Lee almost threw him out of their stadium.
Yeah, good. Again, that's why I took pleasure in that, Jeff. I always take pleasure in seeing Orange Cassidy get killed. Christian Cage.
You know he's really injured, right?
Well, that sucks. Anyways, moving on. Christian Cage was kind of the odd man out. I know Wrestling Soup was like big on Keith Lee winning because he just debuted, but Wardlow had all the momentum going in the match. Keith Lee didn't really have any momentum. So it was kind of interesting to see Wardlow take out both big guys, and then give that sweet powerbomb spot to what's his name, to Starks, which kind of looked like he botched a little bit, but whatever. Wardlow still won, so now he's going to face now a new TNT champion next week in San Antonio. But what do you guys think about the match? Whoever wants to start.
I guess I could start. I love the match. I enjoyed this match thoroughly. I do agree with Drew. There was a lot of big men in this match. You would think in a lot of match you'll have a mix of high flyers, grounded wrestlers, and you have your big men. But for what this match was, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and like we said in the predictions, there's no way Wardlow is losing this match. He has to win, especially all the momentum that he had. And one of the spots that was kind of interesting, kind of funny, with Wardlow and Hobbs, they were on the ramp, and there's this big ladder that was in front of the ramp, and they seemed like they was having a gentleman's agreement, okay, let's partner up. But then they broke the ladder in half. That was kind of funny. And Orange Cassidy, even though Drew doesn't get him and doesn't like him, I understand. Nope. I don't like Danhausen. I don't know what a Danhausen is. Can someone explain to me what a Danhausen is? He cursed Ricky Starks. I don't know. That was we didn't need that. I understand he's with Cassidy, but that was not needed at all.
Danhausen is if Andy Kaufman and Woody Allen were morphed into one person, but in the process it's because they were possessed by a goofy demon who sometimes exhibits the tendencies of Uncle Leo from Seinfeld.
Oof, that's very descriptive. And that is exactly right. That is on the money right there. And I could have done without that. I could have done without that. In all honesty, just went in there and curse Ricky Starks. I don't get that. But all these guys had a good showing. I did like when Orange Cassidy, he was climbing on top of the guys. Hey, you got three big guys on there. They're tall as shit. They got big girth. As I don't know if it was Tony Schiavone or Excalibur that said that during commentary, but I felt like he was smart in doing it, even though we knew he wasn't gonna win. It just shows that at least if you're gonna do spots, do certain spots like that in the match, because it's clever. I like that. And Keith Lee had a good showing. That throw that I know it was Wardlow or Keith Lee, but he threw Orange Cassidy, he threw him pretty far. And it's Keith Lee. Yeah, I was like, damn, I cringe when he landed really bad on his arm. And he was legit injured. But I enjoyed this match. The right guy won. Besides the Danhausen stuff, I enjoyed this match thoroughly.
Jeff,
I'm going to say these things. I like Danhausen. I like Orange Cassidy in small dosages, just like I like Danhausen in small dosages. But they shouldn't be together. They shouldn't be in the same group. They shouldn't be in the same match. unless the near-term game is to have them face one another, which it doesn't seem like it is. I mean, Danhausen's now with Best Friends, which is already a comedy act of sort of lovable losers, along with the Dark Order, or along with any number of others that are either not lovable losers but still losers. But it was a little bit much. But I actually really liked this match for the most part. I think all three of the big men work smart. He expected a little bit more teamwork between Team Taz or more conflict between Team Taz. So once again, Taz failed. Hashtag Fire Taz continues. I sort of expected Keith Lee and Hobbs to cancel each other out. That's not what really happened. I'm not sure if I'm relieved or not about that. But I thought it all worked out well, and I think we must be the only three people who predicted Wardlow was going to win, because everybody was predicting other people. They were like, he's the one guy who can't win. They're thinking Starks. I think Steve predicted Orange Cassidy. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, a lot of people picked Keith Lee for the reasons you stated, but I knew it was Wardlow, and they made it clear as day on the Dynamite before, when MJF was saying to him during the confrontation with Shawn Spears that, hey, big man, if you win that TNT title, go ahead, keep it. You can keep it. You don't have to give it to me. And then he got mad and said, you don't work for me. You work for you don't work for AEW. You work for me, and don't you forget it. And so obviously the story has to be that Wardlow is going to get that TNT title and say, I don't give a damn about your contract, Max, because I have another contract with AEW. And Tony Khan bought out my contract with you, or whatever it's going to be. But I like when I predict something right, and so far I'm right in this. But I really enjoyed the match. I didn't really like Wardlow's promo tonight. It went on for too long, and it got better at the end. But I mean, I was just waiting for him to say TikTok, and and that should have been the end.
We'll get to that. So moving on, next match, AEW TBS Championship. Jade Cargill defending against Tay Conti. The match was 6 minutes and 50 seconds. That's my take on the match. Anyone else?
Do you want to go
outfit?
ahead?
Yeah, Jade's outfit. Was there a match? I don't know. I mean, whatever this was,
Jade's outfit. Yeah, Jade's outfit.
This was a very enjoyable 6 minutes and 50 seconds for me. I mean, I mean, this was better than the other two women's matches by 10 times. And I'm not even kidding. I know that the match wasn't that neat, and neither of these women are that polished, but it's fine. I mean, Jade beat her. It took under 7 minutes. It wasn't too long. Ty didn't look terribly overmatched, but at the end, whenever Jay needs to turn it on, she does, and she turns it on and won, and she retained and should retain, and she opened it with a kiss, and I mean, between that and the what was that, a Mortal Kombat outfit? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I said I don't know if I said in the review or like just in general, that this match was gonna be a pass for me, and I'm glad that I'm glad that it came on after the ladder match, because I was thoroughly entertained, and it was better than I thought. Like, this match was better than it should have been, and I'm happy that I was wrong, because we expected the AEW women's title match to be better. Okay, it's Thunder Rosa, it's Britt Baker, but like, this match was like, wow, like, I was thoroughly impressed. And Ty Conti did, she did some stuff there. The kiss, her around the world, like, everyone's mad at it, it should have been them, but it won't be, because they're virgins, and you already know. But that was a cool spot. She integrated that into her, like, her gimmick, Jade, that is, on Dynamite. I know we'll get to that later, but I did enjoy that. And Jade going, on the top rope, she did a frog splash. It was a pretty nice looking frog splash, and she looked better in this match as in her matches. and I think Daniel Bryan. Oh, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me, Marks. Bryan Danielson, training her has been doing wonders. I'm a patient guy. I'm hoping that she improves more. And from what we saw in this match, like it was like I enjoyed it. I was like, whoa, this was better than it should have been. I still can't believe it was that good, but you got to give props. I can't talk shit.
The match went the way it should have went. Jade is getting better in the ring. I'll give her that much credit. I'm not going to be a dick. I'm not going to be that much of a dick. I thought she did an all right job in this match. Ty, again, good in the ring, but that's really about it. The match happened the way it should have. I'm just going to put it that way. It wasn't terrible, and it wasn't great. It was just there. Like, it was just a match. Like, that's the best I can say about it. Next up, dog collar match. CM Punk versus MJF. This match was 26 minutes and 45 seconds. Jeff, I imagine you have a lot to say about this match, so go ahead.
I really don't have a lot to say about it because I think it was sort of exactly what everyone thought it was going to be. I mean, I know people were saying it was slow, and it was, but it's a dog collar match. I mean, they're not going to be doing a lot of running around and fast moves. It was brutal. It was bloody. It was methodical. It ended exactly the way I said it would. I said the Punk is going to get that ring from Wardlow, and he's going to hit MJF, and that's how he's going to win. And that's how they're going to protect MJF, and then they'll be 1-1, and they'll return to this in 6 or 7 months. Or some. Well, I mean that. I don't know when they'll return to it, but they'll return to it another time. But there's not going to be there shouldn't be a tiebreaker match anytime soon. Both these guys should be moving on to other things right now. But I thought it was good. I mean, it was a little long for my taste, but I mean, to me, anything 20 minutes plus, I start to get, bored. But aside from that, I could recognize it for what it was. I mean, I had some problems with the promo MJF did a couple weeks ago, and how Punk had forgotten everything he'd known for 25 years and was dumb. But I think AEW sort of dodged a bullet. The tax spot didn't exactly work right, but that's nitpicking. And yes, I do nitpick, but I feel like I need to. I think this match was, again, if they took 2 of the 3 pre-show matches off the card, or all 3, and move one of the main card matches onto the pre-show. And I know you can't take the women's title match off the card, but they really should have, especially in hindsight. It would have been like a really, really great pay-per-view. And I think this contributed to it. I mean, I think this played out as expected and as it should have. I know that people are thinking the Punk might be the new Cody, and he's not really putting anyone over, but they protected MJF. And listen, you only have so much time to make money with Punk. Maybe another 2-3 years, maybe another 2-3 months before people get sick of him, or his past comes back to alienate the IWC that loved him so much. So you make that money now. You have to. What is MJF, 24? You have 15 to 20 years to make money on him, theoretically, anyway.
Ruben.
Oh, man. I was really looking forward to this match. And, there was a lot of complaints from people that it was too long, how come it's so slow. And this is the syndrome of people having way too many spot fests in their matches and don't understand certain psychology when it comes to matches like these. And not everything can be a spot fest, instant classic. And you can, but not in the way that you think it should be. And while, saying all that, I enjoyed this match. Love the shit looking from MJF in the beginning. They utilized the dog collar, the chain in the match. They sold pretty decently. Like Punk bled so much in the course of a few days, it's insane. And at some point, I was like, damn, like, I know people are going to be saying, oh my God, it's gore. What did Vince McMahon say? I thought it was going to be like that. It's too much gore. But I enjoyed the match. Yeah, it was a little bit too long. And, people's attention spans nowadays out the window. And, I get that, but I enjoyed the match. The ending, you could have seen it from a mile away, blindfolded, but it was good. Warlow coming in saying, "Oh, where's the ring? In which pocket? I don't know." Found it, and gave it to Punk. Walked out, and it protects MJF, doesn't make him weak. And like Jeff said, you got so much time with so much time with MJF. He's young. There's so many years to capitalize off of him in AEW. So he's fine. I have no problem with MJF losing. He's fine. People are saying, "Oh, Bearing, it's fine. Shut up. Just sit down. He's fine. He's okay. He has a future in AEW. I don't think he's gonna go to the WWE. That'll be a death sentence for him. And a lot of people like him, especially." He's the type of guy that loves story and emotions. WWE doesn't care about that. So he's good where he's at. And he'll definitely be money in 10, 15 years' time. So overall, enjoyed the match. Yeah, too long. But for the type of match it was, it needed to be. And yeah, the good ending. And again, enjoyed the match.
I'm going to be that guy. I thought it was too long. I think you could have shaved off at least maybe 8 minutes off of this match, and it would have been fine. I mean, you can still tell a story in like 15 minutes, like 15, 18 minutes. I didn't think it needed to be that long, and that's what AEW suffers from. Is their whole thing is, let's make the matches longer. It's like, no, you don't really need to.
Yeah.
Something about this match wasn't really clicking. And I think maybe part of it was the fact that, like the fans, they were starting, they started out the show like white hot. Like, they started, they shouldn't have started off with, Kingston and Jericho. They should have had, the big tag team match. So, and then have the wrestling matches to kind of cool everyone down. And then you get this match in the middle of the show, and that's when you bring the crowd back in. And I think that was kind of the problem because this match was very methodical. Punk isn't a spot guy. MJF isn't a spot guy. And, they're like one of the few actual wrestlers on the show. So I think for an audience like the AEW fans, they see that and they're just like, it's almost like they're like, should we clap? Should we say this is awesome? Like, should we go holy shit? But, something about this match was kind of off for me. And I'm not going to say I'm disappointed by it because I did like it. I've been preaching for the longest time, we need blood. AEW it recently kind of maybe goes a little bit too overboard with it, especially with, the later match. And again, it was appropriate for this match because it's supposed to be a blood feud and this is a dog collar match and you expect, two guys to beat the ever living piss out of each other. And yeah, MJF, his shit talking was good. I thought it was interesting how he did his Ring of Honor entrance, and then he ends up, getting mad at some fan on Twitter for not knowing what it is, but whatever. And it went with the big fight feel of the match, and I appreciated it. I might need to go back and watch the match to maybe appreciate it a little more, but I definitely didn't hate the match. There was just something kind of off about it. But
I can understand that.
overall liked it because as much shit as I give Punk, for his AEW run, a lot of the segments and matches that he's in end up being the best parts of the show. The same thing with MJF. I did like the ending. I mean, again, it was a little predictable. As soon as I saw Wardlow coming down the aisle, you're like, okay, they're going to do something. They're going to do something that that's more than likely going to spark this or kickstart this Wardlow MJF feud. And I like the fact that he was looking in his coat pockets. He's just like, huh. And then when Punk takes out MJF, Wardlow just goes, I forgot, and then he just takes out the ring and just gives it to Punk. I'm like, okay, that was clever. So yeah, that's just how I look at the match. I didn't hate it. I was looking forward to it. It delivered, but again, something was just kind of off about it, and I'm gonna need to watch it again to kind of figure out what that thing is. But yeah, that's just how I look at the match.
Yep, I'll say this with the with CM Punk using his ROH theme. It was really dope. Like, it brought that feel that this was a big match, and as as me being a fan of wrestling, I didn't watch ROH in its heyday. Mm-hmm. I watched TNA. However, there were a lot of people, and again, Twitter ain't real life, but you have these people who say, hey, if you don't know about this theme, then you're really not a wrestling fan. You're really not a fan of CM Punk. You're not a fan of ROH. I'm like, who are you? Like, these are the type of people that give wrestling a bad name, and it's things. It's people like that this type of bad gatekeeping, that really alienates wrestling from everyone else.
It's like, how dare you not know who the FATs are? Who the hell are you? What kind of fan are you?
Yeah, like like my best friend, he knows more wrestling than I do, and he knew about CM Punk's ROH thing because he watched ROH and in the heyday and whatnot. But it's fine. But there's just a lot of people in wrestling that really die hard. It's scary, and it's those people. With those people in the space, you're gonna have a lot of issues with gatekeeping and people being alienated from from wrestling, because it just, these people make us wrestling fans look bad. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that gives wrestling a bad name, but that is like top on the list there. But overall, the theme song was dope. Made the match feel big, that big deal, and with Tony Khan buying ROH. It was fitting. Bring out that theme one more time, and I enjoyed that.
I'm into most of that. I was watching at the time. I was watching ROH sporadically, not religiously. I don't really remember that. I don't really care about any of that stuff. And people can question my fanhood. I'm almost 50 years watching. I mean, obviously as a toddler, I wasn't watching every week story. I remember, ABC's Wide World of Sports when they had Andre the Giant on, and I remember Antonio Inoki against, I think it was Muhammad Ali. I remember when as Eddie Gilbert turned on Bruno. I vaguely remembered that Zbyszko turned on Bruno a couple of years earlier because it actually made the local news. It made the paper. I mean, so these are things that I remember. Forgive me if I don't remember something from RH, but I don't try to diminish people who enjoyed that. That's great. The gatekeeping part, it's ridiculous. You expect everyone should know everything, and somebody else tells you what kind of fan you are. I'm sorry, but you probably never heard of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Okay, cool. I'll tell you who Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert was. I'll tell you that he lost Missy Hyatt to Jason Hervey, who for a few years was actually a star. But as far as this is one of the things that keeps regular people turned away from wrestling is the wrestling fans. No, it's not. No, nobody knows how wrestling fans are except other wrestling fans. People who aren't interested in wrestling never get that far. It may turn some casual fans who are interested and then make the mistake of going on Twitter and Facebook and joining groups or whatever and go, what the fuck? I don't want to be associated with the people. Maybe that, but I would say that's like a 1 to 3% attrition rate. I think the 98% of the people out there have zero interest in wrestling, period. Have zero interest in wrestling, period, before they ever get to what the fans may or may not be. So that's just my little editorial, which is unimportant. But hopefully entertaining.
Entertainment. Next is AEW Women's Championship. Dr. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. Match was 17 minutes and 25 seconds. So,
how long was it again?
17 minutes and 25 seconds, this match. The AEW Women's Championship.
That's how too long it was.
Oh, yeah. Like, this could have benefited by maybe being 5 minutes shorter. And, like, B Sharp is saying Thunder Rosa. That was kind of the mess we think debunked. But
yeah,
I know.
Sure. Why did she win the contender match tonight?
I don't know. But me, we're both win. But on the other match, some insanity. Britt wins the match, and it was not a very good match, and it sucks because Rosa is so good. Britt is good, but I would say Rosa is the better wrestler than Britt, and Britt's the bigger star. And these two always seem to have good matches against each other, but just this match wasn't clicking. It just wasn't clicking for both of them, and it was just a very sloppy match, and it was just like they were making it very obvious about what the finish was going to be. And like, if you're going to screw Rosa in the match, don't make it so obvious. And the fact that you literally just see fucking, who is it? Not what the fuck's her name?
Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter, there you go. Like, Jamie Hayter is like literally just at ringside waiting to hit Rosa in the face. I'm like, okay, so this is what we're doing. Okay, we got to wait 2 more weeks for Rosa to win the championship. All right, whatever. But not a very good match. Might even be the worst match on the show, in my opinion. And it should have maybe been 5 minutes shorter. But what do you guys think? Whoever wants to start.
I have 3 quick points. This match absolutely shouldn't have been on the card. It should have been 17 minutes shorter. It was terrible. And if they knew what the end was going to be, then they should have found a different contender for Britt Baker for this match. Because it's so stupid that 3 days after a title shot loss, she's in a number 1 contender match with legit Layla Hirsch, who the whole story about her versus Chris Statlander is how Layla Hirsch has been struggling to get wins, and she had no wins in 2022, and she had a losing record in 2021, and now she's in the number 1 contenders match because she's won 1 match. I mean, the whole thing was dumb. If you're going to have Britt Baker win in San Antonio, then have someone else lose on Revolution, and then have her win this number 1 contenders match on Wednesday night, and let her win in San Antonio. I mean, I get the desire to have the hometown win, but I also hate the obviousness of this sort of like indie booking mentality. Like, that's not a story. That's Mick Foley cheap pop stuff. So I thought this match was garbage. I thought that the logic behind it was garbage, especially knowing what they were knowing. And if Thunder Rosa is even a little bit hurt, why didn't they give her those extra 5 or 6 days to heal? Yeah, I'm done.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Oh no, you encapsulate the issues with the AEW women's division there. Like, if we're gonna have Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa wrestle in San Antonio, which makes sense. It's the year anniversary of the Lights Out match. Their story right there. However, they didn't need to have this match on Revolution. They could have put Layla Hirsch in this match or someone else, but again, they don't really have no one else, and the stories, the stars aren't aligning basically. So I felt like they had no choice but to put Thunder Rosa in this match. It was just very sloppy. I didn't enjoy this match. Ironically enough, I had more downtime during this match at work. It was a very chilled atmosphere at my job, and I wasn't really into this match, and that sucks to say because I really enjoy Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. The bakery is in, ladies and gentlemen, but I was not having anything what was in the bakery this time around. I know Wednesday, for sure, last Wednesday, like I was there with my wallet in tow, but this time around, not really, and it sucks because these women are dope, and I wouldn't have had Thunder Rosa Russell, in my humble opinion. Everyone agrees, I believe. It was just kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I know I said I was done, but I lied because Ruben made a really good point that they didn't have anyone else except Thunder Rosa, but it's their fault. But there was such an easy cheat for them that they've used half a dozen or a dozen times before. Have a battle royal, the Dynamite before, or the Rampage before, and you put in 12 or 20 women. They have plenty of women that are doing nothing on that show, and whoever wins it, they get a title match at Revolution. Yeah, it's cheap and easy. No one's buying the pay-per-view for the women's match.
Or, you could have done this easy. Thunder Rosa comes out and she's pissed off. She gets on the mic. Britt, you had your little fucking bitches cheat to help you win. You always have to have your little bitches out there to make sure you win. So how's about this? Next week, you and me, last match between us in San Antonio. Steel cage match, bitch. Let's go. You could have done that. Easy. Wrestling 101. You could have called out the champion and said, you want me out of your life once and for all? Steel cage match. It's just going to be me and you. You're going to be locked in a cage with me. Your little girls, they have no place in this match. So you could have done that.
They don't do that in AEW. When the loser wants a rematch, they challenge the champion. The champion says, yeah, let's do it. And then the challenger says, okay, 6-man match.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, tonight is not the first time that's happened.
Oh my God.
Remember with Kenny Omega told Moxley or whatever or King someone you could have whatever you want. I said, okay, whatever I want, right? Whatever I want. And Callis and Omega, yeah, whatever you want. I want a 6-man match. What? You want a 6-man match?
I'll save my response for that when we get to the Dynamite review. Oh, Jesus Christ. Next match, speaking of Moxley. Jon Moxley defeated Bryan Danielson in a singles match. This match was 21 minutes and 5 seconds. Speaking of another match, it should have been 5 or 7 minutes shorter. Again, it's Bryan Danielson, so I gotta be biased. I gotta be unbiased when it comes to Bryan Danielson. I love Bryan Danielson. I'm never gonna say a bad word about Bryan Danielson. It's good to see Moxley back. Moxley is in amazing shape. I mean, he's actually working a lot better. Granted, he has Danielson in the ring to kind of, carry him in the match. Not that he didn't do much carrying, but this was, again, why does this match need to be this long? It didn't. I mean, there was a point where I was actually zoning out during this match. And I'm like, wait, why am I zoning out? It's Bryan Danielson. AEW has this problem where it's not just long matches. It's like, okay, here's the first act, here's the second act. Now, what do we have for the third act? I don't know. Like, it's like that episode of South Park. I don't know if you guys ever watched South Park, but it's like that episode with the underpants gnomes, where it's like, plan 1, steal underpants. Plan 2, plan 3, make profit. What's plan 2? Hey, hey, David, what's plan two? Yeah. Like that. That's what it seems like in a lot of these AEW matches, where it's just like, what is plan two? Like, what's the second act? What's the third act? But
yeah. You bring up a good point. They don't have that bridge. They don't create that bridge to get themselves from Act 1 to Act 3. They just want to go straight from Act 1 straight to Act 3, and I understand, hey, there's a in between, there's a middle here that we need to worry about, and it's an issue, and it's, I'm aware of that. I see that a lot, and it just sucks because it's Moxley and Danielson, like what the fuck.
I don't know. I thought this match was near perfect. I loved it. I don't know what else to say other than chef's kiss. I thought it was great. I mean, I wanted the end to be where they both sort of choked each other out simultaneously, because the build to the match was weird, and there was no stipulation. Like, it was the whole, we don't work together until we bleed together. So, like, it should have been like, you want to work with me, Brian, you got to beat me. And Brian's like, okay, then I'll beat you. Or first blood match. I mean, there was no stip, so it made no sense. I mean, any ending could have resulted, except for a squash, could have resulted in them working together. I mean, they sort of saved it, I guess, sort of with Regal coming out and doing his thing. And I thought he was very good tonight. That's a one-time thing. I mean, I don't know why he's with two of the best speakers in the business, let alone the company, when he could be with so many people who, just by being next to him, would be elevated, and he could speak for them because they can't really speak for themselves, or at least not effectively. But I thought this match was near perfect. I loved it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I enjoyed the match. My whole thing is just a tad bit too long, and the stipulation. I was like, I know they're fighting. Like, it's Moxley, it's Danielson, and we know no matter what, these two will put on a great match. But I felt like with, a lot of people saying that the Punk and MJF match was missing something, I felt like this match was missing something. At least in my opinion. I felt like it was missing something. Besides that, like, it was a good match, but the whole, Act 1, Act 3, like, where's Act 2? Like, what are we gonna do to bridge it off, to make it look seamless, make it feel seamless? But
you know what was missing. You said what was missing. There was no stakes. There was no emotional investment in who won because there was no stakes.
Yeah. It was that's the thing. Like, I felt like this feud could have been drawn out a little longer. They could have dragged this out a little longer, had to progress, build a story. I felt like they, again, Act 1, Act 3. There's no Act 2. Like, they just went straight to teaming with each other. And I felt like they could have did at least a best of 5 series or something. I don't know. I don't know, but something with some stakes, slapped on there. But I did enjoy Regal coming out there, slapping the shit out of both of them. That was pretty epic. I love Regal. One of my favorite wrestlers growing up. And yeah, he's fought his demons, but he's here still ticking, and I'm really glad that he's in wrestling, and hey, slapping the shit out of 2 top guys. That's a hell of a way to make a statement at the end of the match.
His 2 sons. He came in to reprimand his 2 sons for not getting along. I was happy to see William Regal. I was in some ways I was a little let down. I'm like, he's not going to be an authority figure, because I would rather see Regal as an authority figure, like the commissioner of AEW, because that's what AEW sorely needs at this moment. But hey, good for William Regal. He's being used in something, but it's just like AEW, I think they have too many managers for everybody, and I don't think he needs to be a manager of this team, whatever this team is going to be. But hey, good to see William Regal. Happy for him. Jeff, what did you think about William Regal coming in?
I think I already said it, so I don't really feel like your audience needs me to repeat it a second time just because you weren't listening.
Well, I mean, when you do that thing where you start talking, I just kind of go, what?
Well, that's what I mean by not listening.
I'm sorry. You probably said it and I didn't hear it, but go ahead and say it.
Well, Ruben, did you hear it?
Yeah, a good amount of it. Yeah.
Okay, then the audience heard it too. So that's all that matters.
Oh boy, and it begins.
You really want me to repeat the same thing on one show?
You don't have to. It's my fault because I don't listen. I'm a bad friend. I'm a bad friend. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't have any good friends, so I mean, it's probably my fault. At some point, at some level, it's probably my fault.
Speaking of not your fault, next match is a 6-man tornado tag team match. Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting defeated the Andrade Hardy family office, Andrade El Idolo, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy, with Hosea the assistant. The faces won. I mean, this match happened the way it was supposed to go. I mean, Sting, of course, 62, he's still doing dives. Again, the faces won. This match happened the way it was supposed to. What'd you guys think?
I'm no longer excited about Sting still doing things. I mean, I got over that a year ago. So,
Yeah.
no, this match was atrocious. They didn't need the entire Hardy family office coming out for all of this nonsense. And then to lose on top of that when it's, 7-2 or 7-3. I mean, everyone knew the faces were going to win. This is an exhibition match. Anything with Sting, their team's going to win. If anything, this should have been on the pre-show, and the House of Black thing could have been on a Dynamite or a special event or something. But I mean, it was long. The show was too long. I guess they didn't want to have so many technical matches back to back, but I don't know. They really need an editor. They just really need to cut some things out. And I know what I said about Britt Baker and all that, but in foresight, you cannot assume that match is going to be terrible, and you can't have your women's world champion not on one of your 4 pay-per-views. I mean, I understand that point as well. But this match didn't need to be on the show, or certainly not second last. I guess the theory was to wake people up, but I think it was just too long. There was no waking them up at that point. I think they lost the audience 45 minutes earlier.
Yeah, this match could have been like the main event of Rampage. Like it really wasn't needed, along with at least maybe 2 other matches, because there shouldn't be 11 matches on a pay-per-view. And yeah, WWE is guilty of doing the same thing, but overall, pay-per-views need to be 7 to 8 matches tops. Like that's just my opinion. Ruben, what do you think?
Train wreck of a match, all this interference, especially if you're gonna lose, like what the fuck she doing? Like, to me, I saw a few minutes of this and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I backed out. This match, you do have a lot of good talent on here, but it's like, why? That's my main thing for me. Why? At the end of the day, I mean, there was a spot that was cool. Andrade powerbombing Sammy Guevara to the crowd, I believe. That was cool. Besides that, I was like, it's passable for me. And as we saw with Dynamite, after on Dynamite that happened earlier tonight, yeah, like the story is there, but yeah, this match was just bad. Like I didn't really care for it personally. It was just there.
Right. So now we're on to the main event. AEW World Heavyweight Championship. You have the champion Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole. Match went 25 minutes and 45 seconds. I like the match. I thought it went the way it was supposed to. The right guy won. Obviously, Hangman won. Again, there was too much going on outside of the match with the Dark Order and the rest of the Elite. But it didn't take away from the match too much, because I thought it was going to be a thing of like everybody's fighting outside the ring and everyone forgets that there's a match in the ring. But I like the ending, because I like that Hangman went for the the buckshot lariat, and then Cole, I think what was it his hand or foot on the rope, I think, and Hangman just got pissed and said, fuck it, I'm going to go for another one, and just beat the shit out of him and got the win. So I thought it was a good ending. Hangman getting the win. Fine match. Again, didn't light the world on fire, but I thought it was a fine match. And I imagine Jeff has a lot to say about this. What'd you think about it, Jeff?
I think you're going to be surprised. I mean, you obviously know what I think about Adam Cole visually. I think he's a joke, but I'm not going to judge the match based on that. I will say him coming out in the Halo gear, whatever that was, looked ridiculous. He looked like a kid in a cheap costume. It was just dumb. I mean, at least come out in like some sort of full robot gear so it makes you look bulky. But as far as the match was concerned, I thought the match was good. I thought it was smart. I like how they're not necessarily married to their finishers. There's been sort of a subtle story creeping lately where it seems like Paige doesn't really hate Cole the way he should, and he sort of likes him, even though he knows he's his enemy right now, but I think he wants to be friends. And like the handshake at the end, I know it was a callback to Ring of Honor and them starting out together and whatever, but there's been sort of this little dance between the two of them. But anyway, I thought it was a good match and a smart match. I mean, you want me to say Adam Cole looks like a eighth grade girl, and you're right. Adam Cole does look like an eighth grade girl, but I'm not gonna give my pay-per-view review based on that. I mean, I have to judge the match just on the match, as if I'm objective, not completely biased. Well, I have rather been pretty much almost any other person other than any member of the Undisputed Era, probably. But the match itself was good. I think it delivered.
Ruben.
I mean, the gear was kind of like what the fuck, but I got the reference, but I guess it was kind of the wrong type of gear to have on. But I see the attempt, but kind of missed. It kind of hit and miss. But the match, to me, I mean, what do you expect? Adam Cole match. Adam Cole is great. It's just shooting, fish in a barrel when it comes to Adam Cole's physique. But, besides all that, overall, good match. I wasn't too crazy for I was looking forward to more of the other matches, Eddie and Jericho, Dark Collar match, and Danielson and Moxley. But this match, I had no problem with it, except this big schmaz of people like we had with the AHFO. Jesus, so many letters, and the Dark Order coming out and all. This is too many factions, too many bodies. Just the mass of humanity is massive, and yeah, just too many bodies. But I could have done without that, But again, the match, again, for what it was, I enjoyed it. I like Adam Page, but I don't know. I love the guy. It was just something missing. He needs that feud, that right feud to just I don't know, get more sympathy or to just give him more edge. I don't know, but I'm willing to give this feud. A heel?
He needs to get vicious.
that.
The problem with him, and this is what Jeff said before, so this is Jeff's analogy, is
yes.
It's the same problem with Drew McIntyre. where they have the right look, the talent's there, the personality is definitely there, but it's just, again, something's missing because Drew McIntyre looks like a badass. He looks like somebody that would probably be in like a Marvel DC movie. He looks like a badass, but you see him on screen and it's just like something's missing. Like something's not clicking.
It's not authenticity. They don't sound like they mean what they're saying. It sounds like they're working from a script all the time. And Page's voice is bad. He sounds too much like Kermit the Frog. But I had actually blocked out Red Dragon and the Dark Order from my mind. So you're absolutely right that was an abomination. And it's almost funny to see how many people were on the show that were just extras that got that pay-per-view payday. But it's more funny to see who wasn't. It's like LAX were not. I mean, they couldn't even make an appearance. Jake Hager was not. I mean, so you could tell who they really like. I mean, even Men of the Year were up there in the rafters, in a luxury box, looking at everything. So almost everyone got some screen time, except for a few. And I have to wonder, what did they do wrong? I mean, we know about Cage, we know about Miro, but we don't really know about Miro. But and Lance Archer is, I guess he's like a cicada, except he only comes out every 4 months.
He just comes out. He's basically the new Bray Wyatt. He comes out. He'll challenge somebody to some type of convoluted, hardcore match, of the death kind, and then he loses, and then he goes away. That's it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, like if there's anyone who really needs to be assigned to Ring of Honor, I mean, I would say Cage and Archer have to be two of the first two.
That wouldn't be bad because, like, I forgot who said that. I think it was Ruben that might have said this, but Ring of Honor can be AEW's NXT, where assign your guys that aren't really getting a lot of TV time that maybe need to improve a little bit, or not maybe, but they do, and just put them down there. They used to do it when back when WWF had OVW. They would put guys like the Big Show. They would put Mark Henry down there. They would sprinkle in some vets like Taker and Kane to go down there and to just work with the younger guys and also to improve a little bit. So I mean, this has been done before. It's nothing new. So I'm intrigued to see what AEW does with Ring of Honor. So
here's what I'm most intrigued about, and that is because Tony Khan said that he's going to be booking Ring of Honor. We know that he mostly books AEW, but obviously he's not alone. Dean Malenko's there, and the Bucks are there, and Omega is there, and I'm not sure how much influence they do and don't have. I'm not sure how much influence Cody did and didn't have. So we will see if Tony Khan books Ring of Honor very similarly to AEW. We'll know that he's part of the problem, or he is the problem. But if he books it a lot differently than AEW is booked, we'll know that he just can't say no to people, that they just need a strong man to, sort of be the one who says no.
Yeah. That's what they need. They need someone there that will be a filter and will say no, because you see what happens when you got yes men around you and you got to go to, upstate to, Connecticut. Do I need to say anything else?
Right.
Exactly. So overall, guys, what was your highlights and lowlights of the show?
Low light, 2 of the 3 pre-show matches, but the women's title match is probably the low light. I really enjoyed the ladder match. I really enjoyed Jade's match. Sorry, not sorry. And I don't know. I mean, I thought Bryan and the title match were good. I guess I should say the Mox match since he won. But yeah, highlight. I'll go with the ladder match. I was pleasantly surprised by that, and that I actually booked the ending of the Punk MJF match exactly correctly.
Ruben.
Highlights: ladder match, Punk versus MJF, the TBS title match. again, was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting that match to be that good. And good amount of time, so there's no complaints there. But the lowlights, women's title match and the Smiles, the 6-man tag, like, yeah, those are the two lowlights. And I didn't watch the pre-show, so I can't add those in. But yeah, just those two matches in question, and more so the women's title match, because I was expecting it to be good and it was a letdown. And, it's just so unfortunate.
Highlights for me, the main event. I thought the main event was really good. Punk and MJF I thought was good. Just should have been shorter. Lowlights. The 6-man tag match, didn't care for. Rosa and Britt, which is unfortunate. Didn't care for that either. And also the second to last match on the show, the other 6-man tag match, wasn't needed at all. Again, that should have been like the main event of Rampage. And yeah, that's kind of what I give it. I would give the show maybe a C+. That's just how I look at it. What about you guys?
I would have given it a solid B. I have trouble making my number grades, like 1 to 10, match what the corresponding letter grade would be. Like, so I probably would have given it like an 8.2, but I would deduct, like almost 3/4 of a point just because of length. And because of things that didn't need to be there, that actually were, not just they didn't need to be there, that they were detrimental, like 2 pre-show matches that were extra, like an extra 6-man match, like all of Hardy Family Office, like all of the Dark Order, and constantly going up to Men of the Year in the box and all the other stuff. Even the segment with Swerve, I mean, it was really very underwhelming. It was, I guess hearing the crowd say Swerve's house was kind of cool, but they could have waited. It was just sort of very low key, But yeah, I guess I would go with the C. Like, I like a 7.5, but again, I'm probably would have said 8.25, but I deducted 3/4 of a point for because it was just way too long, like this comment.
Ruben.
I mean, minus the pre-show, I will give it a 8 out of 10, just because first time in a while, like I thoroughly enjoyed a pay-per-view, even though the 6-man tag and the AEW women's title match was a letdown. Of course, I went back and watched some of the other stuff, but it just sucks that we all thought, hey, it's Britt and Thunder Rosa, like, no chance that it's gonna be a bad match. And and I feel like there's always gonna be that one match that will let us down. Like, we expect maybe the 6-man tag, or maybe the Jade and Ty Conti to be a letdown, but we were really surprised, and it's unfortunate. But again, I give it an 8 out of 10. My opinion.
All right, let's move on to AEW Dynamite. It was tonight, actually, and the show begins with Jericho coming out. Jericho looking, like me and Ruben said, he's in a lot better shape. Wink, wink, and looking like
he's on the Stanford diet.
He's on the what diet?
Stanford.
There you go. He looks good. I'm not gonna lie. He's looking very good, by the way. And I remember I turn on the show and Betty walks in. And I just go, look at how much weight Jericho lost, and she's like, fuck, like he must have lost like maybe 30 or 40 pounds, and her eyes kind of lit up, and now she likes Jericho again. So go figure. She's like, he has abs. Look at his abs. Anyways, so he comes out. And then, it says, I was supposed to shake, Eddie Kingston's hand like I promised, and I didn't. So Kingston comes out, gives a gives his usual promo, good promo, by the way, and somebody tries to do a what chant, and he shuts that down immediately, which is just like, come on, dude, wrong company, which, whatever. And, he says, Steve Austin ain't here, so, show some respect. Jericho shakes his hand, and then 2.0 comes out. And then, they do the beatdown, and then Ortiz and Santana come out. And Jericho ends up turning on Santana and Ortiz. Jake Hager comes out, and then Jake Hager acts like he's pissed off at Jericho, but he really joins in helping Jericho. So now Jericho has another faction, along with Jake Hager and 2.0, called the Jericho Appreciation Society. What do you guys think?
You want to go ahead, Joe?
Sure, why not? I just thought it was hot garbage. I mean, this is like when Dallas realized that it was bad without Bobby Ewing, and they opened the season with Bobby being in the shower, and the season before was a dream. Or this is like when a show gets stale and they bring in a new baby or a kid, like a Cousin Oliver or the Bundys have a baby or whatever it is. This is that. I've seen this before. I don't care. I'm not interested anymore. Nothing's going to make me care about 2.0. Nothing's going to make me care about Daniel Garcia. I know why they have jobs, because they're safe workers in a company that doesn't have a lot of safe workers, so they can put them in there with anyone. But like instantly, like I don't feel like any of them are elevated by Jericho. I think Jericho is actually diminished by being with those three guys and still with Hager, who was always the least interesting member of the inner circle. So I mean, I figured Hager would be one of the non-renews, and now we're stuck with this again. So it's just a different version of the inner circle, and now it's going to be Santana, Ortiz, and Kingston, and obviously Guevara lost his title. So I wonder what he's going to be doing now. And then they'll need to get a fifth person, whoever that might be. So whatever. It's just I don't care. I just saw it. I'm just like grown. I was like, this isn't exactly what I was expecting. I was sort of expecting, Kingston to be the one that went heel, and then Santana and Ortiz to join him, or maybe a lot of people are saying Santana and Ortiz may say we're sick with both of you, a pox on both your houses. So it was a little bit unexpected, but I was like, oh, that's unexpected. Shrug. I'm already bored with this.
Right. Like, I'm assuming Guevara might end up joining LAX just to just to fit the quota. Wink, wink. Yeah, that was bad. But yeah, because Guevara is great as a babyface. Like I always said, I liked him as a heel because he has a very punchable face as a heel. But now he's very much over as a babyface. So, and they were doing the inner circle meeting, last month, and he was basically saying, I'm kind of done with this shit. I don't want anything to do with anybody. I'm just going to do me. You guys can tear each other apart if you want to. So Guevara is going to be the odd man out. He's going to be the guy going, what the hell? We started this group. We were boys. And, you stopped being friends. You started fighting each other over a stupid reason. Like I thought we were all cool. I thought we were going to ride this one out until the wheels ran out. But, and then that's what's going to catch Sammy getting a beating from this new faction. And again, I'm like Jeff. I'm like, yeah, I'm already bored. Like I don't care. Like I really don't care about anything that Jericho does in AEW. Like I'm at this point where I'm just like, when is he going to go back to WWE? Like that's really all I care about at this moment. So yeah, there's an
upside. The upside is he's not on commentary.
Oh, goody. And then somebody had mentioned, I kind of missed this, that Hager botched that powerbomb spot with Kingston.
Yeah, he did. Because, I mean, to be fair, he was that they shouldn't have done that spot like that. That looked gnarly, and there was like a lot of that tonight with tables. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that. But with this spot, I was like, Jesus, like this dude
almost balance, and
he lost his balance.
Kingston is very heavy in a very centralized place, and Hager has slimmed down a lot. So he's probably, he's obviously training for MMA, and he's probably lost a good 20 pounds, which probably means he's not as strong anymore. Like, he's probably plenty strong, and it was on the apron, and he slipped, and the guy's fat, and all of of his 230 pounds, 150 of it are over air. It's good that the other guys came to help him. I mean, it wasn't a botch. They helped it. It wasn't perfect. But in some ways, that was actually more realistic than, perfect. So I didn't mind that. I'm just glad nobody slipped and, I just, like I said, I just don't care. It's like they broke up two of the original factions tonight just to create other factions. It's like they break up factions to create factions, and or to splinter factions. It's like there's too many factions, and they're like multiplying in strange ways.
Yeah, I can agree to that. It was a nice swerve, but what we got isn't what a lot of people wanted. So the swerve was cool. The execution was kind of cool, but what we got at the end, the end result, I went and did something else until AEW came back on air. It was both of Jericho before the swerve came out to be sympathetic. Eddie Kingston, he came from the heart. I like that. I don't, agree with Eddie. A couple of, a lot of things, but a couple of things. But he's a damn good talker, and he's he's legit, and I give him that above all else. But you're just gonna have Santana Ortiz probably lose again. Like, you broke them up just for them to keep losing. I'm not a fan of that. Like, they should be, contenders for tag titles. They should be winning. They shouldn't be losing like this and just getting constantly beat down. And, I get for story's sake, but to make another faction, break up the old faction, blah. That's what I...
This is all to have a story for Jericho, because you're exactly right. Because Santana Ortiz, if they're the ones who turned on Jericho and they were heels, you have a face tag team champions right now with no obvious challengers. I mean, they just turned FTR face, and you've got the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, fighting with each other basically. So who's your next, team to push? Way overdue, LAX, PNP, whatever you want to call them. And now it's delayed again, more for Jericho stories.
Yep.
Let me ask something. So since Jeff brought up LAX, do you think they're going to bring in Homicide to be a part of this?
Oh God, I hope not.
Well, you have a problem with Homicide?
I have a problem with all wrestlers that are 5'6".
Jesus Christ!
But I mean, he's another old guy who can barely move anymore. No, I have no interest in that. But he'd just be in there for a per appearance to be the one who eats the pin until they find an AEW star to be the fifth member of their group. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in Homicide, at some point. But I don't think it would be, permanent. And I don't want it to be either. Homicide to me is like a mini version of Kingston. I'm not interested in seeing him, but at least Kingston has like a charisma and speaks really well. Homicide doesn't.
I don't know. I just like CM Punk's impression of him on that ROH interview that he did with Samoa Joe. It was pretty funny.
What was that, 100 years ago?
Well, it was like 2005, 2004, but it was pretty funny.
That's why you want the guy to get a job with AEW now, because CM Punk does an impression of him?
I just said I thought it was funny, Jeff. Chill.
I mean, you could order a cameo from CM Punk and ask him to do that for you.
Take a chill pill, Jeff.
When's your birthday? I'll buy it for you.
My birthday is July 17th.
Okay. Well, me, Ruben, RJ, and Brother Monty will all chip in, and then we'll get you a cameo from CM Punk.
Happy birthday, Junior!
Obviously, I just volunteered all of them without their consent.
I mean, it's birthday. We can do it. We can do it.
Oh,
it's all good.
It's like I better get that damn gift, or I'll be highly disappointed.
Well, aren't you always highly disappointed?
Or just have CM Punk ask me, who the fuck is Drew Yari?
That's 2 cameos.
It's like, hey, Drew, your best friend Jeff and Ruben and RJ and Monty asked me to give a shout out to the Drew Yari show. My one question is, who the fuck is Drew Yari? Like, what the fuck is a Drew Yari exactly?
You should actually find that show and you should record that part, and that should be part of your introduction.
Exactly. I would love it.
Yes.
Anyways, the first match of the night, Hangman and Page defends the AEW World Championship against Dante Martin. That was a pretty quick match. It didn't go too long. That was kind of my worry going into this match, was that they were going to make it too competitive. And, it wasn't overly competitive, so that's what I kind of dug about it. Hangman wins, of course, with a buckshot lariat. That was actually pretty cool. And gets on the mic afterwards. Tells Dante, pretty much, does the face thing. Dante, you're really good, blah, blah, blah. Next time we should, wrestle again, yada, yada, yada. And then Adam Cole comes out, tells him to shut the hell up, and says, I'm not done with you yet. I'm going to make your life a living hell. I want another, like Jeff said, I want another match. Next week, let's have a 6-man tag match. That's like going to the bakery and be like, hey, I really want some cake. Can I get that pie?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Hey, I'm really interested in pizza. Do you guys have hot dogs here? It's like, Jesus Christ.
It's even worse. It's like, let me get some salads, but I'll pick them up on Thursday. This was, it's as you reported was correctly. The only thing I want to say is that AEW wasted so much time trying to convince the audience that Dante Martin was this young superstar that they were going to push to the moon, only to, as soon as it got close, have him lose to everybody. And they must have known that his brother was getting healthy, so they knew that they were always going to put him back in a tag team. So they built this kid up only to lose. And I don't think the little speech from Hangman Page did anything to make us forget that he's lost to Hobbs and now Page and a bunch of other guys in the last few months. Now, that said, I think Top Flight is a perfect example of a team that would benefit a lot from having William Regal as their manager. Brian Cage is a guy. Keith Lee is a guy. Having William Regal there would make a lot of sense. But match was fine. Again, it was smart the way it ended. Yes, he hit his finisher, but it wasn't a conventional way. They both scouted each other. There was defense. He knew the moves. He pushed Dante Martin off when he was going to do his swanton. So it was smartly choreographed. It's just then Adam Cole comes out. What? Why do we need to see him again? He lost 3 days ago. It's like my same gripe with Britt Baker, getting a contender shot. It makes no sense. Right, I'm sorry. Yeah, Thunder Rosa getting the contender shot. It just made no sense. And then the extra stupidity of, okay, 6-man match, and he doesn't even know which of his 2 friends he's going to pick. And then you have sub stories that I'm sure there's a population of people who are interested in this Red Dragon Young Bucks thing. By the way, where's Jay White? Where the hell is Jay White? Nowhere. Not that anyone in the crowd really cares. It's like Ruben said, you got the gatekeepers. They all pretend they love New Japan. Then Jay White comes out and there's crickets. Nobody knows who Jay White is. So we've got the Adam Page has been mired with the Dark Order for about 20 months now. He's been breaking up with them for about 16 of those 20 months. And we're back to that. This is another case of a faction diminishing the champion. So again, another reason he needs to turn heel is to beat the hell out of those guys. I don't even care if he joins Cole. With Red Dragon as his J&J security. Don't care. But whatever it is, the match was good, but everything around it was goofy.
Ruben.
Yeah, I enjoyed the match. It was short. I was surprised how short it was. And the stuff after with Adam Cole, I was like, damn, I really need to stay up because I gotta be on Drew Yari's show tonight. I do not want to pass out because I love Adam Cole. This was just boring. Mm-hmm. Like, got two other guys. I won't tell you who they are. 6-man tag, blah blah blah. Like, who cares? It's like, to me, like, if you lose, you gotta go on the back of the line, unless asterisk on the contract or whatever. But you lose. You lost. Back of the line. Go. Get out of here. Like, get someone here. If you're not gonna set up to another match, you're just gonna have these tag team matches. No, I'm good.
Yeah, strange transitioning. I'm assuming we're gonna get Page and Cole at Double or Nothing. I guess that's what we're leading up to. But
yeah,
just bad. It's also weird. I mean, it was a tactical decision to put the title match this early in the show because they always do better in the early quarters than the later quarters. And one of the criticisms of Page's reign is that his segments are not highly rated. So I mean, it was clear that was to sort of counter that narrative, because a world title match should almost always be your main event.
Yeah, but it's Dante Martin. I mean, I guess they want to save the main event for bigger opponents. But I get you. It's that old school mentality of the world title should always be the last match on the show. I mean, that's what they did with Brian Danielson. I'm sorry. Where it's just like, why is this the first fucking match of the show? This should be the main event, because everything else after the show is going to be crap, and it was.
Right. And that one, they should have started that at like 8:40 or something like that, so that you still thought it could go the full 60 minutes, but you weren't sure. It wasn't so obvious. When they opened the card with it, you knew it's going to a time limit draw.
Right, and it's just like, that kind of shows the faith that they have in Adam Page, where it's just like, we can't trust you to be the main event. We're just going to have you open the show. Because if that was Omega, he'd be in the main event. Or actually not even, because Omega and Bryan Danielson opened the show when they were in New York. So, I don't know. I'm not the Booker of the Year, people. I don't know what I'm talking about. Next is Bryan Danielson and Moxley versus the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake. Bryan Danielson gets the win for his team with a submission. William Regal gets on the mic, cuts a pretty emotional promo talking about how he's been in the United States for 29 years. Then he said 39 years, and that didn't really make any sense.
He was wrestling for 39 years. He's been in the United States for 29 years.
Okay, so he's 53. So he got here when he was 24. If he's been wrestling for 39 years, that means he started his wrestling career at 14?
Well, Roxy did. I mean, Rey Mysterio Jr. I mean, there's plenty of people who started early.
Well, I mean,
starting might have just been going to wrestling school after 2-3 days a week after school and training.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like it's like shocking, because again, he works overseas, or he's worked overseas, so the age of consent to be a wrestler in not the United States is a lot different than the United States, which it kind of should be. But I don't know. I was just kind of thrown off because he said 29 and then he said 39. I'm like, is Regal kind of fumbling his words? But I kind of figured he wasn't, because he's a lot smarter than me.
You just want to listen to him. You don't listen to him either. You don't listen to him either.
Right. But William Regal cuts a good promo, and Gets a little emotional talking to Tony Schiavone, saying Tony Schiavone gave him a chance. And, talks about his history with Bryan Danielson. He trained Bryan Danielson. It's like the joke that CM Punk had. Shawn Michaels took, $2,000 from Bryan Danielson. William Regal really trained him. Talks about his history with Moxley. And, says, these two should be going to war with each other, or war together and not with each other. I am more, I don't know, I was more into the guys of, like, if you bring in William Regal, he should be an authority figure. Like, he should be the commissioner of the show. Because, this show, the inmates are running the asylum, on the show and off the show. So it's good to have someone like William Regal come in and just straight up say, no, I'm making the decisions. It's like earlier in the show, Adam Cole, doing the whole, it's going to be me and you, but next week we're going to be in a 6-pin. And then William Regal's just like, no, you're not making the matches. I'm making the matches. You have to earn your keep. I don't know.
You understand that William Regal doesn't really make the matches. He would just be reading from a script.
I know.
Writes the script. It would be the same thing. He would just look like a boob.
First of all, I like boobs. Second of all, Jeff, I know it's fake. It's fake, people. We know it's fake. It's a show. It's make believe. Woo! We know that. I'm just saying, it kind of ties the show together when you have an authority figure, and
only if the authority figure makes sense.
William Regal doesn't make sense.
He wouldn't be making this. He would just be doing what Tony Khan tells him to say.
Jesus
so
Christ.
It would just be a different voice not making sense.
So that's what he did when he was in NXT. That's what Teddy Long did. That's what Eric Bischoff did. Again,
yes, but in NXT it made sense usually.
Again, you're not getting what I'm trying to say. I am
getting what you're saying, but I'm saying in NXT the stories made sense, whether you like them or not. They generally made sense. His decisions were logical. That's what was written for him. You have a different writer. It's like he can play Batman in The Batman. He can also play Batman in Adam West's Batman, but when he's Adam West's Batman, it's not going to feel the same as The Batman.
Again, I'm standing by my point. I would prefer him as an authority figure. Again, I know Tony Khan's just going to be writing the script for him, but I want him as an authority figure. I just want an authority figure in general. Anyways, who wants to comment on the William Regal segment?
I'll go first. It was really nice seeing him, especially how he was unceremoniously fired from WWE, and I'm glad that he's back in wrestling, because it seems like he was just done with wrestling after being in WWE and just all the stuff that was, taken from him. So it was good. It was a nice feel-good moment, and him, talking about Danielson, also giving a nod to, Tony Schiavone, talking about Moxley, he's getting teared up. I enjoy that. There's room for this stuff in wrestling. A little bit. This is the little bit that we needed. And also with Kingston too, like in his promo, he mentioned the article that his fans told him that they read, because if they didn't read that article, they would have ended themselves. So I like that too. Like, that was a good moment. But going back to Regal, it's a cool way to bring out Regal. However, I would agree that I would have liked Regal be an authority figure, but I do get that it's a different company, different vibe. So while there's a lot of emphasis on old school, I can still see where having him as an authority figure won't mesh well. But I still think he should be some sort of authority figure, because there are way too many damn managers in this company. Too many people, too many managers, too many factions. just too much of anything is bad. So we kind of need something to balance things out. And I think William Regal, being a authority figure, could make sense, but it had to be written well, and I do agree with that. But I don't know, I'm happy he's here. I'm glad he's back in wrestling. I'm glad he's looking well. But it's just kind of weird that for Regal being a good talker, he's with two people that are really good talkers. Then it's like it kind of cancel each other out, But I enjoyed the segment.
I want to advocate for the wingmen here, because what the hell is JD Drake doing? He's in a faction with Ryan Nemeth, Peter Avalon, and Cesar Bononi, and they give him another tag team partner. I don't care that these guys tag on the indies together. So the wingmen, they have a problem brewing right there. I assume that Anthony Green was in this match for some sort of tryout for Ring of Honor. Otherwise, none of this makes any sense. Agree with everything that everyone else said. People heard what I said about Regal before and where he's placed. Rumor basically echoed that sentiment. I will say I thought this was a great promo. I was compelled. I didn't take my eye off the screen. I listened to every word. I feel exactly the same. I'm glad he's got a job. I'm glad he's working. And he's 53. That's too young to have to try to move into a different area of life or, God forbid, work for Impact. But I fear that this promo tonight is the opus of his work in AEW in this role, because there's nothing he needs to do with them, and the only thing that he could do with them is if they're going to keep having conflict and scuffling with each other, like some mismatched team who can't get along, and he's going to keep keeping the peace, which is going to get old really quickly. But let's see. Well, wait and see. Yeah. Tonight I can enjoy.
All right.
I agree.
Next was Pac versus Wheeler Yuta. I kind of zoned out of this match. Pac won. You guys care to comment?
I enjoyed I enjoy Pac, but it's like, damn, he's just, I feel like he could be a lot more. And understand, the travel restrictions, and I believe he was injured before, not too recently, but I remember him being injured and all that. But it sucks that Pac is in AEW, and yeah, he has great matches, but no titles. No, he hasn't won a title, and he's just that workhorse guy. But it's just like, you put him with Wheeler Yuta, and Wheeler Yuta is not too shabby. He's competent in the ring, but I just don't really care about this. I really didn't care.
And why would you? This match makes no sense. I mean, this is the one match where it would have made sense if there were people coming out, so that at least there'd be one faction versus another. But there wasn't even that, and I have mixed feelings about that, because enough's enough, and I never need to see best friends ever again in any incarnation, form, shape whatsoever. But this match made no sense. I mean, why not have Pac versus Buddy Matthews to further that feud? Or, Malachi Black, something interesting. Because I can't imagine that thing is settled until Phoenix comes back. This was nothing. And it was almost like they really didn't plan for it, so Tony just booked a match out of nowhere and picked this one out of random, which is ridiculous on a scripted show that's planned. I mean, why put these two guys in there? But Pac won. He won easily, which I guess is a relief, because he should, because, in AEW they like to make everyone super competitive. Yeah, Wheeler Yuta is competent in the ring, but he's not a star. He'll never be a star. And, ever anywhere except for maybe like a local indie fed. And they have, 17 guys exactly like him. So, fine. It was okay, but it didn't feel like a match that should be on Dynamite. It felt like a match that should be on Dark or Elevation. It just didn't make any sense. I mean, they're both groups are in stories, and this had nothing to do with either of them.
Moving on. Next segment was the AHFO are in the ring for a meeting. Matt Hardy comes in dressed not like Big Money Matt, pretty much telling everyone, listen, I started this group for a reason. My kid's over here. He's talking about Private Party. Telling Andrade, you come out to the ring, but you dress like an asshole, blah blah blah. And Andrade says maybe we need to take a vote or a boat. He said something. I don't know what he said, but and then refers to Sting as Mr. Stink, or that's how it sounds like, Mr. Stink.
He said that Matt Hardy stunk.
Yeah,
that's what he was. Yeah.
And then they all decide to take a vote, and then Matt says, my kids aren't going to, vote against me. So they all take a vote, and then Private Party votes to keep Matt. But aghast, they turn their back on him and they vote against. And everyone, beats on Matt. That's when Darby and Sting come out. Now, today was actually the day that Jeff Hardy officially became a free agent. And in my head, I was thinking, okay, maybe they'll have him come out for the St. Patrick's Day show because it's a holiday. It's going to be a big show. It's going to be the first AEW show in San Antonio. So that'd be pretty big if he came out. Like, they could all get beaten up, and then Matt can say, you want to beat me up, you want to take me down, fine. I'll make it even. I'm going to bring in my own partner next week. Like, you could. That was what I was thinking, logical thinking. Because in my head, I'm thinking, I don't think Jeff would come out midway through a beating that his brother is involved in. Like, if I saw my brother get beat down, I wouldn't wait fucking 4 minutes to come in and intervene.
Well, once you did, wouldn't you stop a couple times to dance for the crowd first?
I mean, I absolutely would, but
I would.
Yeah.
But
you got moves like that.
But lo and behold, Jeff Hardy comes out, and with the was a song called "Loaded," like fully loaded. Whatever. Anyways,
who cares, Mel, for Punk? Who cares what the song is called?
Anyways, Tony Khan secured the rights for the song because WWE doesn't own the rights.
Tony Khan bought it. I just checked. He brought it.
But Jeff Hardy comes in, saves his brother, who's now all of a sudden a babyface, because he was just a heel on Sunday, but now he's a babyface, so go figure. Jeff Hardy's now all elite. Whoever wants to take over this segment, go ahead.
I will, because I typed this today. I typed exactly what was going to happen this morning, and it exactly happened. This is NWA booking, and I don't mean NWA 1983. I mean NWA 2022. This is crap. This was such utter garbage. Another faction that broke up and splintered into two factions now. Two groups that are going to war, because they have... Not only do they have a bloated roster, they have 3 bloated rosters. This was such garbage. And listen, it's nice that Tony Khan buys the rights to these songs, or actually outright buys the songs with whatever he's doing. But this is why they're in the hole at least $25 million over the course of over the life of their company, if not a year. And he's doing it for a 44-year-old daredevil who has addiction history problems with injuries, and obviously they want to put him in something with Darby where they're going to try and outdo each other. So he whatever he spent on this song, I hope he gets a return on his investment for a fucking song. I hated this whole thing. I hated most of the show, but this was especially stupid because it was so lazy. It was just they couldn't even wait to build a story where Matt is still evil and Jeff is trying to talk him out, and you sort of see him breaking the character. I mean, at least if you want to do something silly, at least have Matt backstage and something falls on his head and he wakes up as broken Matt Hardy again. I mean, that at least would be funny and interesting.
Yes,
hate it.
I mean, with this whole thing, I am happy to see Jeff Hardy, in AEW. It's been a long time coming, especially since WWE dropped the ball on just on everything, just the way they fired him, how they groveled to get him back, but he said, "Fuck you, take your contract and take your, the Hall of Fame induction, and shove it." And I'm happy. I'm happy he's in AEW. However, just the execution was poor, and we can't forget that. While we're happy to see Jeff in AEW, just this whole segment was just really lazily, thought out. And like, I agree they could have done something with, with Matt Hardy, but that too was, it wasn't executed well because there was so many people and in these factions, there's so many people on the roster, so you can't put people on every week. And then you have Rampage, but I feel like you can't have a schmoz on Rampage that shows an hour. You can't mess with that. You can't just put people just for the sake of putting people on. But it just goes to show that they had to book correctly, and it doesn't seem like they're doing that. And then when you had an opportunity to bring Jeff Hardy back, and he's in AEW, it was a good pop, it was a good moment, but how they got to there was kind of just lazily thought out.
Right, it's like I said earlier, with the underpants gnome thing. It's like plan 1, plan 2, question mark, plan 3.
Yep.
Like, and yeah, I agree with Jeff. It was just a very shitty way to bring in, well, I agree with Jeff. It was a shitty way to bring in another Jeff. Because it like, you could have really built towards it. Like, you could have done something where Jeff comes in and, Matt tries to talk him into joining their group, and Jeff is just like, "What happened to you, man? Like, you used to be all about the business. You used to be all about having fun. And, the money always came second. The passion and the fun always came first." Like, you could have done something like that instead of just like, "Hey, I was a heel on Sunday, but now I'm a good guy. And here comes my brother. Yay!" Like, you know what I mean? And I love Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is one of my favorites on the Jeff Hardy mark. I'm glad to see him back. I was even happy that, the Hardy Boys theme was playing. But again, it was a very poorly done segment. It was stupid. It was probably the worst thing on the show. And, again, Meltzer is probably already giving, the potential match against the Young Bucks 5 stars. So, go figure.
6 stars. 6 stars.
6 stars!
It's starting at 5, and it's just going to go up once the match starts.
Jesus Christ. Next is the Wardlow segment. Wardlow comes out and talks for, like, he actually gives a good. This is actually his first, like, actual promo because I've heard him talk in spurts and small doses, and most of the time is mainly just like him talking, like, maybe a few sentences and grunting. Well, not really grunting, but just like maybe talking in a few sentences. This one was the first time he actually talked, and I gotta say I was impressed because I'm like, he was well spoken, but not like to the point where it was like a Keith Lee type of thing where it's like salutations. Like, he was like talking like a regular guy, but how you think a guy his size would talk. Like, it wasn't like me, Wardlow, I'm mad, and I will fight you. Like, it wasn't like, who the fuck was that guy? You guys remember Mason Ryan?
Yes, I do. Like, unfortunately.
Like, it wasn't like Mason Ryan. Like, he was talking very intelligently, like he was sophisticated, but again, he sounded like a tough guy. He sounded like somebody his size. And I kind of agree with Jeff where it was kind of going a little overboard until the end of the promo where he said, "This is Wardlow's world." I'm like, okay, somebody's been watching 80s Sid, which is just funny because Brian Last kind of said the same thing, that Wardlow needs to watch 80s Sid. And maybe he has, I don't know. But I thought it was a good promo. I was very pleasantly surprised by how well-spoken Wardlow is, and he's actually a pretty good talker. What did you guys think about the segment?
I enjoyed the promo.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the promo. He came off really well. I can understand the point that you guys are making, that it was like just a tad bit too drawn out, but I mean, since this is his first actual promo solo, I can give him some slack. But after this, yeah, he's got to get straight to the point, get your point across, hit the bullet points. So I'm cool with this. And yeah, the guy has a look. He doesn't stumble on his words. Hell of an athlete, and he's the next star that they got, and he just gotta keep the momentum. If Wardlow, keeps himself healthy, have a good feud with MJF, I'm all for this. I've been a fan of the guy. It sucks that when he had the ladder match with Cody, of course, Cody went over because Cody Christ died for his sins, not our sins. And yeah, but I'm glad that now he's getting his time, and he's gonna get a TNT title match. And yeah, good promo. I'm happy for the dude, happy for the guy.
Jeff,
this is my guy. Wardlow is basically Jeff Build a Wrestler. This is my guy. And I don't know what you all were listening to, but I didn't hear the same thing. This was long, rambling, meandering. He did stumble over his words, and he didn't sound like a tough guy until the last 7% of it. The last 7% was great. Some people just don't know how to be faces. They only know how to be heels. And I'm sorry, yeah, it's his first long promo, but he's had 3 years there to learn the tutelage of one of the best promos, MJF, and some other adequate promos with Tully, Sean Spears, doing his swingers routine. All he had to be was adequate, and I didn't think he was adequate. I think he sounded like a softie. I think he suffered from Adam Page disease, where whatever he sounded like, it was just boring and lame until the end. So he's got to channel that closing, because the closing was strong, but the rest of it was weak. And I was really disappointed. I'm looking at the guy, and I'm bored by what he's saying. And I'm looking at him saying, just say, you don't know what you want to say. Just say TikTok, because you look just like Cross. So say TikTok. Just do it.
he's a lot bigger than Cross.
MJF, your time is coming. TikTok. I'm coming after you. TikTok. Watch your Rolex. I'm coming. TikTok. Just do that. His promo should have been no longer than 30 seconds. This was. I was very disappointed. Yes, it was his first time to do a promo without, being the guy. So maybe he was a little bit nervous and had a little stage fright, or maybe he's uncomfortable, being the face. But, sorry, you're a professional on primetime TV. This was not good. I don't care what anyone says. It wasn't good. And like I said, this is a Jeff Builder wrestler.
I can agree. I'm sorry, Drew. I agree. You're in the big time. I've been critical of a lot of the talent in AEW when they put on prime time and they don't deliver. You're on Dynamite, so I do understand that. However, and this is kind of like the thing. They tend to forget their stories, where did Wardlow come from? How come he's subservient to MJF? What's the deal? They didn't explain that until recently, and I feel like Wardlow going about explaining, giving exposition, and sometimes too much exposition can be bad, and I do agree with that. But to basically just sum up, for him to sum up what was going on, he was under MJF's tutelage. He thought it was going to be his ticket out and, his family. So I get that. But to, with what you have, to use what you have and try to make the best out of it. I feel, in my opinion, could be wrong. I feel, in my opinion, he did what he could do, what he was given, and the ball. Because if people already knew more of Wardlow's story and why he's under MJF's thumb and all that and things like that, he didn't need to say that. He didn't have to go all drawn out. But at the end of the day, I think that he, I don't know, I didn't have much issue, but I can see where people, could have issues with the promo. But I didn't have an issue. But I do see all sides.
And,
this. I mean, one, your opinion can't be wrong because it's your opinion. But this is the myth of AEW, is that they hire all these older, more experienced guys to work with the younger guys. It's not true. They fly in once a day. They're probably there a few hours before showtime, and then they all go home. Most of them fly out or go their separate ways. They're not working with each other. But what I'm talking about here in particular is that this is Moxley's story. It's the same story. It's from the same part of the world. Wardlow, I think, is from the Pittsburgh area, and that's where he was an indie champion in Pittsburgh, Ohio territories. And this is Moxley's story. So, all you have to add out is I sold out. I did what I thought was what I needed to do. Now I don't feel it, but I've had enough. You broke me, Max, but not the way you wanted to. You made it so I could break my chains, and now I'm coming after you. You think you owe me with that contract? Bullshit. I don't need your money. I'll do it on my own. I'm coming after you, Max. Yeah, that's it. It could have been a 45-second promo.
Well, I mean, and also Wardlow's from Cleveland, and
same thing. Those are all the same cities.
Whatever. Anyways, so with this upcoming feud, this could help Wardlow improve his promo skills, and he doesn't. And again, what I mean by that is MJF is MJF. MJF is going to say what he says, and hopefully that brings out that fire that you're looking for in Wardlow with his promos, because it can be. Because next week in San Antonio, it's going to be Wardlow and, spoilers, the new TNT champion, which we'll get to. And damn well MJF or Spears or whoever is going to come out and fuck with the match and cost them the match.
It's going to be Spears, but he's going to foul and cost them the match. So
you're going to have, Wardlow come out and he's pissed off. He's going to, and I made the joke about 80s Sid, because that was a Brian last, comment. I would say, look at Batista. Look at 2000's Batista, and look at his promos. Again, Batista, was he the best on promos? No, but Batista cut promos in his own way. And what I mean by that is Batista cut promos as a badass. When you heard Batista cut a promo, you're like, this guy's going to kick some ass. Wardlow, Kevin Nash, there you go. But I would say, okay, Kevin Nash, there you go. Like, lean towards that. Look at guys that talk like badasses. And I know I said I like the promo, and I kind of half agree with you where I was like, okay, he probably should have gotten to the point a lot quicker. You know what I mean? And your idea was a lot better, where you just said, Max, your bullshit contract is just that bullshit, and I'm going to kick your ass, yada, yada, yada. So, hopefully, again, we see more of that from Wardlow, because like I've always said about Wardlow is that he works the way he should be working, is as a big guy. He doesn't try and do spots because he knows he can't do that, nor should he. So he should take that same ideology from his matches into his promos and not try to do the whole, I'm a big scary monster. Now let me tell you about my childhood. Like, I don't want to hear that.
You're exactly right. His promos should be like his matches. You're exactly right.
Yeah, there you go. Like, don't make the same mistake that Braun made, where it's just like, get these hands. But one time when I was 8, somebody called me a dummy face. It's like, what?
Yeah, well, he's a dummy face, and he's a dummy.
When I was 12 years old, some rich kid said I smelled like potatoes. What? That has nothing to do with anything, Braun. But yeah, exactly. His promos should mirror his wrestling matches. There you go. Simple solution. But again, I'm happy Wardlow's getting the push. I'm happy Wardlow's getting more TV time. Looking forward to this feud. And also, speaking of the Pinnacle, FTR fired Tully because reasons.
Right, this was stupid too.
Yeah, there you go. Because I forgot which fucking member of FTR, the bald one, Dax, who was like, I'm doing this for my family, and then Tully's saying, yeah, it's about family, but it's about wrestling, it's about titles. You got to win titles. And then Dax, don't talk about my family.
Right,
and then
it's so incongruous.
It was just odd, but
like titles don't get you richer; that you can do better with your family. Isn't that how wrestling stories work?
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, so the next match, Ruben. What were we gonna say, Ruben?
I was gonna say this didn't make much sense. Like, why break up those two from Tully? I don't get it.
It's like I've been saying on Twitter all night, responding to anything I've seen on AEW because reasons.
Yes.
Next is Jurassic Express defending the AEW Tag Championships against the Acclaimed. Jurassic Express goes over. Again, yeah, like random title shots. I don't get it because of their rankings, but
don't you feel like the Acclaimed lose a title shot every single month?
Yes.
They're basically their whole shtick is Max Caster coming out going, Yo, listen, and then they lose.
I love their whole shtick. They're great. I mean, I just don't understand why they keep getting title matches. I understand why they want to put them on TV, but it's just this whole ranking system. I mean, it's never made any sense. It's never been honored. It's the whole thing is goofy. But whatever. Match. It was a match, but the Acclaimed, whenever they're a highlight of the show, and I don't care that they're raps that they can't rap well, and the cadence isn't exactly right. They make me laugh every single time.
Oh no, I like their shtick. Like they take little digs. I'm like, oh, that's pretty clever, but it's just like once the bell rings, means absolutely nothing.
Well, I'm talking in theory to people who are listening and may listen in the future. I wasn't necessarily talking to you.
Yes, you were.
Why do you hate the Acclaim, Drew?
I don't know. I hate all that.
Have you not? Oh, it's because they want you to listen, and you hate listening.
I don't. I don't like listening. When Max Caster says, "Listen, listen," I'm like, "No, I don't want to listen." God damn it!
Right. And you're like, the Acclaim has arrived, and you're like, departures to the right.
I'm like, nobody tells Drew Yari what to do. Mute.
Right. This show is Drew Yari hates listening.
Exactly. Ruben, what do you think?
The match, I honestly thought that the Acclaim were going to win the titles. I honestly thought that there were instances during the match, like towards the end, I thought that they had it, but then they, interference, with the boombox, and that was pretty cute. Christian got involved, but I enjoyed the match. But I'm thoroughly entertained when the Acclaim rap, and they're competent wrestlers. But that's what we need. We need more. We need just a little smidgen, just a little pinch of entertainment, and these guys give it. They do get a title match like every so often. Like, I will agree with that. I do hope that these guys do win the tag team belts, but that's going to be like way down the line, because a lot of teams are going to get it. But yeah, I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the rap that the Acclaim did. I'm surprised that Jurassic Express retained. I was really surprised, but at the end of the day, it was a good match. I was paying attention to it unlike the other stuff on this on the show.
Yeah, it was a fine match. I mean, it you know, you knew Jurassic Express was going to win. The Acclaimed are, if they're going to win the titles, it's going to be like later on down the line, like when they have like no options or no other options to get the titles.
Yeah.
To. So it's just like, you know, again, it was fine. The Acclaimed, again, I have no problem with them, but it's just like, to me, all they are is an entrance. Like, I enjoy the rap. I enjoy, you know, I don't enjoy when they tell me to listen. I'll say that. But, you know, the rest of the rap I think is very clever. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. But, again, when the match starts, I'm just like, okay, I've seen all I need to see. So, where are we at? Next is we kind of already covered this, so we'll just like skim through it. Layla Hirsch, all 4'5" of her versus Thunder Rosa in an AEW World Women's Championship #1 contenders match because reasons. I was kind of getting annoyed at this match because I'm just like, this should just be a 1-segment match. Like, I know I don't get people's fascination with Layla Hirsch. Like, I really don't, because again, she's like, what, 4'9", and I had no idea how small she was because she came out and I'm just like, wow, she has really stubby arms.
Yeah.
And again, I have no problem with short girls. I love short girls. You know, short girls are fucking hot. But it's just like, you know, everybody tries to make a claim of like, oh, she's tough. She suplexes guys. I'm like, she's an MMA, you know, specialist. I'm like, okay, that doesn't translate on TV. That doesn't make her entertaining or interesting to me. Like, why is she in this match? Like, it's like I'm like with Jeff. Why is she in this match? Why is Thunder Rosa getting a chance to be a #1 contender when she just lost? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I mentioned earlier. She should have came out and just talked a little bit of shit and said, you know, Britt, you cheated. You had your girls, you know, fight your battles like you usually do. So you and me next week. If I lose, you'll never see me again. I'll never get another title shot again. And if I win, I'm the champion. But it's in a steel cage. Like, it should have been that easy, simple. But it's like, no, she just lost, so we're gonna give her another chance at a shot against somebody that nobody gives a fuck about. Like, that's pretty much AEW 101.
You ever read a book and like you start to daydream or something, and you're still reading, and then like you get to the end of a chapter and you realize that you have no idea what happened in the preceding 11 pages. You were just looking at words and flipping pages. That's how I feel about this match. Like, I watched it, but I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in it other than you're exactly right. I always knew Layla Hirsch was short. I was doing a show on the PWC with Jimmy, and I'm like, she's all of 4'10". He's like, she's like 4'5". And now I'm like looking at her, I'm like, and she's like an inch over the top rope. I mean, that standing up, that's her height. Like, so whatever the top rope is, she's like maybe 2 inches taller than that. And I just, that's all I could focus on, and then I couldn't focus on anything. It's like I was watching through a swimming pool or had a stroke or something. But I didn't care about this match. You know, the reasons you said, echoing reasons I said earlier on. So, you know, I didn't think it was. I mean, obviously, I didn't think it was particularly good. I don't know if it was particularly bad, but it certainly didn't keep my attention.
Ruben, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, this match is kind of weird how this match, but I do agree this match could have this match didn't happen, but if it did, oh well. But yeah, there's a lot of hype with Layla Hirsch, and I mean, I get it. Like, listen, she is very short, very stacked, very thick, and you know how we guys love our women. We love our women thick. So there's like a little bit of fetish to that, I guess. And that's why. And I mean, I've seen some of her matches. I think the last few haven't been all that good, but it's all because certain opponents she's had, the people she's been in the ring with. But I don't know. There's just no personality with her in all honesty. Just from seeing her wrestle, there's, besides that, there's not much there. But with Thunder Rosa, I do agree, and we actually said this before. The whole thing with Thunder Rosa having the match, for the St. Patrick's Day Smash, what was it called? Just for her to have this title contenders match, like, I was like, why? Like, if we know what's gonna happen, they should just had this. They should have had Thunder Rosa call out Britt Baker and be like, "Yo, you're two little bitches out here interfering in my matches. I want you one-on-one in a cage match. Blah blah blah. If I lose, I won't wrestle for the title again. Just something to bring up the stakes. But just having match after match after match, like, sometimes you need more. There's so much you can do in the ring that you need to portray or convey, I should say, the story through promo segments, through in-ring something. So you don't need to have a match to get to the thing and then get to the other thing. Like, I do agree with y'all that it's just long-winded, kind of like my explanation here. but it's just so frustrating because it just shows the cracks in the women's division, and this women's division could be so much more. But I mean, we had Kenny Omega running the women's division, or had a hand in the women's division. You see why, you see the issues. But yeah, I didn't really care, and I do like these two females. I wasn't into it, to be honest, because we all know what was going to happen. We all know that Thunder Rosa was going to get the match, next week, and a cage match, and it's like, oh, so we got to the thing, but we need to do this unnecessary thing to get to the thing that actually matters, But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say.
We've got about 34 minutes until Spreaker cuts us off, so we got to the main event. It's Sammy Guevara defending both of his TNT championships, because he still comes out with both titles for some reason, against Scorpio Sky. Again, fine match. I kind of missed a big chunk of it because I had to use the restroom, and then I came back and watched maybe like the last 5 or 6 minutes of it. Scorpio Sky winning, from interference by what the fuck's her name? Paige Van Zandt, after she attacked Tay Conti. Scorpio Sky took advantage of it, got the pin. Now Scorpio Sky is the brand new TNT champion. Again, kind of didn't really see that coming because you assumed that Sammy was going to win it. But, now we have a new TNT champion. And, this is going to set up Sammy, dealing with the Inner Circle. Scorpio Sky having his match against Wardlow, which, again, if you already knew Wardlow wasn't going to win the match, then he's definitely not going to win it next week. So, yeah. What you guys think about the match?
It took about 2 years of criticism for AEW to listen to the criticism that they were not giving any people of color any titles, and since then they've given lots of people of color titles. Just they have very short reigns. If you asked me a week ago, would this have happened? I'm not sure what I would have said, because I saw the Inner Circle breaking up, and I actually thought it would happen Sunday, but that really wouldn't matter. I mean, so they had. I mean, I actually tweeted today that that it was really stupid to book him as the champion while they're booking the Inner Circle breakup at the same time. It's just too much for one guy to be involved with. And that's been, with the whole cut thing and all of that. So as soon as the opening segment, I knew he was losing. and they made a little mess of it, but that's all right. I mean, this match, that's okay. I'm glad for Scorpio Sky. I'm not really a Scorpio Sky fan, but I'm not a not fan either. But they've been trying to push this guy as a solo star in every way, shape, or form, except actually pushing him as a solo star. I mean, they put him in SCU. They broke him from SCU, and they had him in the Aleister Black, dark room, saying how he's going to be a solo star. And the next thing we know, he's with Ethan Page, and they're a tag team, and they lose every feud practically. They lose every match practically, and Ethan Page gets the title shots, and he loses every match. They even use him as the butt of the jokes that they want to get to Josh Alexander, who they don't even sign when he's a free agent, which is fine but bizarre. And so now he gets a solo push, and he's going to be the champion probably for 1 week. But good for him. It was like you said, it was a fine match. These guys are both very athletic. They're very similar styles. I think they both can play facing. I actually think they're interchangeable. They both can play face and heel, and they both have sort of swag. I mean, one is more the Casanova, one is the devil may care Casanova, or the charming devil Casanova. The other is more the cool guy. Either he's the nice cool guy who could be serious when need be, or he's the swag swerve type. But it was fine. It was good. Nice little title change. That's fine. Do it on TV. Cool. Do a titles change to the pay-per-view. Do it on TV. Yay.
It's just kind of funny and fucked up to think about, where it's just like Tony Khan's just like, so you've been complaining about I don't have any diversity. Well, Scorpio Sky's your new TNT champion, and next week he's going to lose it to Wardlow.
Well, Cody's screaming, "I'm half Cuban! I'm half Cuban!" Shut up, Cody.
You don't even know what he doesn't even know what culo means. Like, what the fuck? Ruben.
You're the family.
To clear things up with why Sammy has 2 belts. Cody was the original TNT champ. Then he was out because I think COVID or whatever. So he was out. So they crowned the interim champion, Sammy. Then Cody came back, and they had a thing like, "Oh, I'm the champion. Oh, I'm the champion." And they had a lot of match, and Sammy won, and that was when Cody was, out the door. You already know. So yeah, that it's still to me doesn't make much, like, it makes sense, but then again, since Cody isn't in the company, it's like they could have drug it out. But anyway, as far as the match goes, it was just balls to the wall, a lot of interference. Ty Conti coming out after Sammy did a 630. He hit that. He splat on that damn table. He brought it out, so it's like karma kind of got to you. That's what happens. You pull a table out. That's what happens. You shoot and you miss, and Ty Conti out there. You saw Paige Van Zandt out there. It was going to get chaotic, and there was a lot of hope spots for Sammy, and I knew that Sammy was going to drop the belt. I knew immediately. I was like, yeah, this is even a blind man can see that. But I enjoyed it, and yeah, this means that Scorpio Sky is going to be a week-long champion. I mean, again, it is what it is. Like, it's kind of AEW's issue. You just had too many people to book, so not everyone can be champion. So it is what it is. Like, we hear people cry about diversity, and while there's a lot of genuine issues about diversity, a lot of it is just nothing burgers. A lot of it is nothing burgers. When Scorpio Sky was one of the first, he was the first tag team champ, AEW tag team champ. So for these people complaining about diversity, like, just try again. But I understand. But try again. Try again.
Oh, yeah, Riho, Nyla, and Sheeta
Yeah.
3 of your first women's champion. I mean, but I know it. I know what you're saying, and I know what they. I just want to say, I still don't think the 2 TNT title belts things makes any sense. I mean, I know the history of it, but I do hope, because there are the 2 belts, that he lets Ethan Page wear one, and Ethan Page pretends like he's a champion too, and they try to do like the New Day Freebird rule with the TNT belt, but they won't, because it's going to be a 1-week title reign.
Yeah, it's going to be short-lived, but they got to introduce trios belts. They really got to do that. At the end of the day, they just had too many 3-man teams, and they don't got a trios belt. Okay, they that's money on the table. You're leaving. It's like, oh, I don't want the money. You take it. Like I'm Oscar from Hey Arnold. Oh, you keep the money. Like you will think someone like Oscar, he will take the money. So these people, they got to do a trios championship. They gotta do it. But yeah, I enjoyed the car wreck. I enjoyed the 2 ladies out there just kicking ass. I mean, mostly it was Paige, but Paige, love me some Paige Van Zandt. But yeah, overall I enjoyed the match. Happy for Scorpio.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. This was not a very good episode of Dynamite. It was kind of very lackluster. Just things happened that didn't really make any sense. And then like the people that are involved are people that usually do better things. And tonight's show, there was no Punk, there was no MJF. You had Britt trying to do her best impression of Charlotte, but not as good. And it just wasn't a very good show. Wasn't a very good, Fallout episode. And, we covered a lot of AEW tonight. We didn't get a chance to get to, NXT Roadblock, which, we didn't necessarily need to get to every match on that show. Because we've got about 24 minutes until Spreaker cuts us off. So, last night, Dolph Ziggler became the new NXT, champion, after defeating... Well, he was in a triple threat with, Ciampa and Braun Breaker, the champion. Dolph Ziggler won after super kicking Ciampa, and then Roode came out and grabbed Breaker out of the ring to make sure he didn't get back in the ring. So, now Dolph Ziggler's the new NXT champion. The way it looks, it's going to end up being him and Breaker at the TakeOver Dallas, which is going to be at noon, which is weird. And...
Stand and deliver.
Stand and deliver. And that's going to be the main event. So I'm guessing either 2 things are going to happen. Is that they want Braun... They want to see how Braun does in front of a big crowd. Because that's going to be the main event of that show. Because he made his... Well, not really a main roster debut, but he debuted in front of a main roster crowd on Monday. And I thought he did a good job. He looked like he was a natural. And I'm not sure if they want to already rush him to the main roster, or they just want to see how he does in front of a big crowd like Dallas, and have him, win that title back, and then just stay on NXT for a bit, or have him, lose and then just go to the main roster, which that wouldn't make any sense. But I don't know. What do you guys think, or what do you guys think about him going forward in general?
I think it's the latter of the 2 situations you said. I think he's going to win the belt back at Stand and Deliver and be the NXT champion again. Maybe there'll be a little side story where Roode tries to interfere and Ciampa does that, and that might be a main roster feud or whatever. But yeah, I mean, as soon as it was a triple threat, and as soon as Dolph Ziggler's there, you knew this was what's going to happen, because everybody's first feud is with Dolph Ziggler. I mean, if you're a woman, it's with Natty. If you're a man, it's with Dolph Ziggler, because that's the people they trust to say this person can do it or they can't. So it was clear as day, and yes, he's going to get his moment. I'm not as high on Braun Breaker as a lot of people are. I mean, I like him. It's like I feel a lot like Braun Breaker about how I feel about AEW. I think it's good. I like it. I think it's good. But I'm not like hyper exuberant about it. I think Braun Breaker is going to have a nice career, something like somewhere between Cesaro and Sheamus, which are both really good careers. But I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's The Rock. I don't think he's Stone Cold. I don't think he's Macho Man. He's one note. He's one tone. His body mannerisms repeat themselves too much. He isn't all that big. He's not very tall, and unless he develops a crazy personality like his uncle, there ain't nothing. He's just one note. So I mean, I think he's going to have a nice 15-year. I think he's going to be that right fielder, that power hitting right fielder that you can put fifth or sixth in your batting lineup and be very happy about it. But he's not your cleanup hitter. He's not your leadoff hitter.
Kind of disagree with you. I don't know if he'll be Cesaro because I think he's a lot.
Yeah, but you thought Cross was going to be a star too.
Hey, we all thought Cross was going to be a star. That's on us.
Not the first time I saw him on that main roster, I'm like, oh my god.
Well, I mean, I think
nobody's reacting.
This is just my opinion. I'm pretty sure Jeff is going to tell me how wrong I am. I think if they play their cards right, Braun could have a Batista career. Is that
if he grows Batista personality, maybe. I mean, he's got to change his personality. Listen, Scott Steiner didn't have any personality until sort of the third phase of his career. It's certainly possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have a good career if they book him right. And also, again, to your credit, he needs a little personality because, he just comes out and he just talks like Scotty, and he just goes woo woo woo. So it's just like, okay, we need a little bit more of that, especially if you're going to be on the main roster, which I think is going to be sooner rather than later. But Ruben, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I think he's going to go to the main roster sooner than later, just by the looks of things. Because NXT, Bruce, our good old boy Bruce and Vince realized, oh shit, we need someone established that can help, the up and comers, and that's why they had Dolph win, and I was surprised. I mean, it was a good choice because, Ciampa's already NXT champion a few times, and I know he's main roster bound. He's like literally there. See all the changes he's done. He's dyed his beard and all that. But I think that Ziggler might keep the belt a little longer if they decide to give it back to Braun. Okay, but I feel like he's going to be on NXT, on the main roster sooner than later. And yeah, I like him. There's hopes. I do have high hopes for him, but at the same time, it has to be more. And again, there's no rush. Just like I mentioned with Hook, you gotta take your time with these people. But again, since WWE is very impatient, they're not going to take that time to build. They're just going to hot shot him to the main roster. He's going to fail. And then they're going to say, oh, look what you did. And then we're going to release you. Just like they've done to every other person because they wanted to book them or not book them a certain way and expect them, hey, do stuff the way we want to do stuff. And then they can't. And yeah, they don't get over, and it's all there. They get blamed, and then they get released. So I'm hopeful that they don't do this, but part of me is like 50-50. But I do have high hopes for Braun Breaker. He has a look, but there has to be a little bit more depth and dimension to him, and we'll see. But again, it's WWE. I just don't really have much hope. I'm sorry, I don't have much hope with all the track. Look at the track record; it speaks for itself,
Right, and I think Braun will be okay because he has a look that they like. But again, lately, the track record hasn't been great. Because like I just mentioned with Cross, Cross is just like, this guy's a certified main eventer. He should be main eventing WrestleMania in no time. And that didn't happen. Keith Lee were like, oh, yeah, this guy looks like he should be main eventing pay-per-views. And that didn't happen. So it's just like, oh, yeah, and they're already fucking up with Damian Priest. So, what the hell? But,
yep.
It's one of those things where it's just like, wait and see. Let's wait and see what they do. Because, again, I thought he did great on Monday. I thought, he was a natural in the ring on Monday. He wasn't fumbling over. Like, he seemed like he was comfortable in that environment. And again, it helps that he had Daddy and Uncle, Daddy Rick and Uncle Scotty, to kind of tell him, and by kind of, I mean they did, which is, hey, this is how the business works, A, B, C, and D. So, I think he'll be okay, because I think he has the wherewithal of, I have my dad, I have my dad's personality to get me through, wrestling, to help me be a lot more likable with people, but also have my Uncle Scotty's street smarts just to kind of, spot the bullshit. So I think he'll be okay. But again, it's one of those things where you just wait and see. But yeah, I thought Roadblock was okay. I thought the Knight and Waller match was really good. Again, it's one of those things where it's just like, you just saw AEW do a lot of blood, but then you see NXT do a last man standing match, and there's no scrapes, no bruises, no blood. So it's just like, but it was still a good match. I enjoyed it. Waller won.
It was a clever ending. It was a clever ending.
No, I enjoyed it. Because I knew Waller was going to win because they love Waller for some reason. I'll give him credit. He knows how to be a heel. He knows how to draw heat. He gets it. So it was a clever ending, like Jeff said. He climbed up on his manager's back to make sure he was able to stand up. And, Knight's more than likely going to go to the main roster, a lot sooner rather than later. Everything else about the show, Raquel Gonzalez, got messed with during the match, so her and Cora Jade didn't win. And
starting
now
this card with two women's matches back to back killed me, and they were bad matches at that.
Oh yeah, and then Cora Jade, it looks like she's gonna have a championship match against Mandy. Yay, really.
I still don't see what anyone sees in her.
She's very young. She's like, 21? She just barely turned 21, and her punches are not very good. Like, it looks like my niece trying to throw punches at me. Like, that's how bad
she does is good. I don't get it.
She's really not good. Like, I tried giving her a chance. I'm like, okay, she's young, maybe she'll grow on me. But it's just like, all she is just, she's a cute girl. And that's it.
She's not that cute. For show business, she's not extraordinary. If she walked into the room, sure, she's cute. But, she'd probably be the best-looking woman in any Green Turtle sports bar you go to. But for TV, and she talks, every promo was like, yeah, I don't know, I think I'm pretty tough, and I'm going to beat you, and just you'll see how tough I am. Who cares? Shut up.
And I don't know. And what else was happening? The tag team match didn't happen because more interference. So the tag team championship match, I'm sorry, it didn't happen after the Creed brothers got jumped, and then MSK said,
"Who jumped them? That's a mystery."
Oh, I wonder who did it. So I'm assuming that's going to be a triple threat for Takeover. Carmelo Hayes announced a multi-man ladder match for the North American Championship because why else wouldn't the heel champion want a multiple man ladder match to defend his title? Oh my god! And Lash Legend came out and announced Nikita Lyons as her host. So yes. The bakery was definitely open, Ruben, and talk shit to her and said, why don't you and your fake butt implants, talk shit or whatever. And then Nikita saying, all of me is natural, honey.
Yeah, so, gluten free, all natural, no synthetic fillers and sweeteners and flavors and all that. It's all real.
So I'm assuming there's going to be a match next week. Yeah, that's really it. That's really all of Roadblock. Again, it was just like, wasn't really special. It got a big tick in the ratings. It got, 616,000, which was up from last week.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
But last week was the State of the Union. The week before was 611. It's essentially the same.
All right, so there you go. And again, NXT is just full of horny people. Like, everybody in the back just wants to fuck. Like, you got Duke. Was it Duke Hudson and Persia just fucking in the back after what's her name leaves? And then you got Malik Blade just fawning over Mandy Rose. It's
What's
just,
wrong with that?
I mean, there is really nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, a lot of fucking going on. NXT, they're horny as hell back there. After William Regal left, that place kind of fell apart as far as like morale.
Didn't you go to college? I mean, that's what happens.
I know. I'm just saying because like for the longest time, it's like that joke that Joe Numbers had about WWE, where it's just like all the women stand over here and all the men stand over here, and nobody's allowed to find anybody attractive. And now everybody just wants to fuck, which is good. I'm glad. Anyways, that's the show. We got about we got 10 minutes until Speaker cuts us off. So great show, boys. Appreciate y'all for coming on. If you guys want to go ahead and plug your stuff.
Let's go first.
Well, we should mention that the RK Bros reclaimed the tag team championships on Raw.
Oh yeah, that happened. Well, again, we didn't really have a lot to. We didn't have enough time to cover that. I was actually going to insert that into the show.
We have 10 minutes, but so it's just figured that we should mention it. But plug my stuff. You can catch me here with Drew occasionally on his wrestling show, probably about once a month, and also about once a month we do the Patreon show from Drew's lips to your ears, and that's random, mostly pop culture and movies. For me, my wrestling podcast is Hammerlock Hangover with Big Daddy Cool Steve Pena, so check that out, please. We're on the Wrestling Soup Network, so if you want to subscribe there, that's great. And the good news is if you subscribe on the Wrestling Soup Network feed, you also get my non-wrestling show, Garden of Doom, which is sort of history, alternative, philosophy, theology, mythology, UFOology, a lot of fringe stuff, but also a lot of hard history stuff, too. And then also Garden View, which is mainstream interviews. And lately, I've been doing a string of shows that are legal in nature, because I'm actually a lawyer by trade, with national or international impact. So we did a show on cryptocurrency, did a show on the law of the sea, which I'm going to work on a little mini-series to extrapolate to the law of space, which is going to be a big thing already. But also we did the law of armed conflicts, which used to be called the law of war, last week, with the Judge Advocate General that was in charge of the telling the guardsmen January 6th and afterwards in Washington, D.C. on use of force, like literally down to the minutia as to what weapons they could use, if any, when they could actually take a sidearm out of a holster, down to that. He was the guy for months down there. And then the last show release was military law, code of military justice, what are court-martials, things like that, veterans benefits, and got some other interesting stuff recorded. I just recorded a show with a lawyer who is one of the few lawyers, small practice, though not so small anymore, that sues nation sponsors of terrorism. They actually literally made new law. By new law, I mean federal law through this senator introduced it. State law, they changed actual law on how to define banks and how do you prove that the bank is actually a state actor. And they sued Iran for the Beirut bombings, 20 some odd years after, and they finally collected just a fraction of it, but $1.8 billion. And he tells the story, and it's an amazing story. He's a former Marine also. So check out that stuff. Good. I think it's good stuff. I hope you do too.
Ruben.
Oh, alrighty then. Apologies about that. Again, thank you, Drew, for having me on. Jeff, great, chatting with you on here. Had a lot of fun. You can find me on my podcast, the Ruben Prime podcast. I primarily talk pop culture, current events, politics. Just get down in the nitty gritty things that people may not want to discuss, topics that may be too hot to handle. You may need a few pairs of gloves, to handle them. But yeah, nonetheless, I try to infuse comedy, analogies, real world stuff, real world experiences during my shows. And I had Drew on a while back, so that was fun. And of course, you can find me on here weekly, bi-weekly, just whenever I can come on for Drew's live shows. You can find me on here. And then again, my podcast is available on all major digital platforms. So if you like Spotify, when it's not down for any reason, you can catch me on there. Google, Apple Podcasts, find me on there as well. And I'm trying to build a website. I have a website, but it's a mess. I'm trying to find someone that could build a website for me. So if anyone out there knows, hit me up. But other than that, thanks for having me on, Drew. Jeff, was fun chatting with you again. And yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, I love
thanks, Ruben. I appreciate it too. And by the way, Ruben, I wasn't kidding. I mean, I was exaggerating, talking about being a mark and all that. But I have wanted to do a show with you, and actually, you were supposed to be on once, and you couldn't make it last minute. And Drew will attest that I was disappointed.
Very disappointed.
Yeah, I know. Apologies about that, but I'm here, and I'll try to be on more regularly because I do have fun when I'm on here. I get to relax and wind down.
Yeah, it's always fun having either of you on the show, whether it's one of you or both of you or all three of you. Again, it makes for a better show. Because for the most part, I'm a solo act, but I hate doing solo shows. I just I hate it. Like, especially if it's like if it's a big news week, it's fun to have topics to bounce ideas off of, but or people to bounce ideas off of. That's what I meant. But as far as you can find me, I'm very easy to find. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Drew Yari Show. I'm on Spreaker. That's my home base. You can find me anywhere else that podcasts are put out. I'm now back on Spotify. You can now find new episodes of me on Spotify and iTunes. Again, I have a Patreon. I do shows with Jeff, Lippman, and Ruben and RJ. Lately, we haven't been able to put out a new show. Again, real life comes into play, but we will be working on that. We will be putting out some new Patreon shit, as soon as we possibly can. Also, next Wednesday, as a note, there will not be a show next Wednesday. I will be at AEW Dynamite. I'm not going to actually be in the show. I'm going to be in attendance, biding my time while waiting to attack somebody. I'm just playing. But I will be at AEW Dynamite next week in San Antonio, so I will move I will move next week's show to Thursday, so it'll be a special Thursday show. What that show will consist of or who will be on it, again, it'll be a surprise. But anyways, guys, you know where to find me. I appreciate y'all for listening. Appreciate y'all for downloading, tuning in. Anybody who did come in, I appreciate y'all coming in. Thank you. Again, I will see you next Thursday. Again, I will not be here next Wednesday, but thank you to Jimmy. Thank you to anyone else who's been listening, and thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time out of your night to come talk this wrestling with me.
Anytime.
Stay with my friends.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Yeah.